are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.9 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stack, Sportsworthy, and Brian Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure studios on this rainy Tuesday afternoon. I think weather appropriate for the city and what has happened on the basketball court for the Grizzlies. We'll get to that in a second. Landon Schmidt producing for us. We're with you for the next 3 hours. Lot to get to. Got to talk a ton about last night's game for the Memphis Grizzlies. Third straight loss. First time all season the Grizzlies have dropped 3 in a row. We got to talk Tigers. They're in action tonight on the road against UTSA. We know Tuesday and Wednesday nights big in the SEC when it comes to the hardwood. We'll talk a lot of SEC basketball, a lot to get to over the next 3 hours. NFL news coming out all over the place, so we'll definitely talk a lot of NFL as well. So much to get to, but Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. A lot of NFL quarterback decisions being made and have to be made here in a short order. But you're right. Last night, soul-crushing loss at FedEx Forum for the Grizzlies against Atlanta. First 3-game losing streak, as you said, of the year. I thought might be able to make it through the year without one. Sure don't want to make it 4. That's one good thing about many good things about the NBA is get right back out there tomorrow night.
Sure.
But a surefire way to make it 4 in a row is Oklahoma City Thunder coming to town, and they put it on Houston last night.
Sure did.
And the scoreboard watching is not very much fun when you're not winning.
No, and certainly the scoreboard watching won't be fun tonight with the Grizzlies not playing and the potential for Houston to bounce back and make up for their loss last night with a win. You've got Denver in action tomorrow night. They're right in front of you, and you watched that game last night for the Thunder. I mean, SGA just doing unbelievable things. Goes out there 50 bomb, and he makes it look easy. Good reason why he's a heavy favorite for MVP this year, and I think will win it running away. He is just a special type of player, and you're right. I mean, you always look at situations like this where you might be on a little bit of a losing streak and go, all right, let's get right back out there, let's turn it around. But when you look up at the schedule and you see OKC, a team that everyone has problems with, then that's not fun at all. And
that homestand that we thought was going to be really conducive to chopping wood of getting more over 500, it has been just the opposite. Tomorrow night against Oklahoma City, Friday night against Dallas, next Sunday night against New Orleans, and then 4 straight at home next week. Really busy week at FedEx Forum next week for the hometown Grizzlies. And now the injuries hit. The injury to Ja, there's so much this front office has done so well, and so much that you can put a lot of faith in.
Yeah.
But the hide-and-go-seek on injury has not been their most flattering chapter.
No, certainly not.
So, Bryant, it just leaves us and many others to speculate and fill in the blanks. Is it more on the serious level with Ja? I know we'll know tomorrow with the PR tweet at some point.
Yeah.
Should we be hitting panic? I don't think so. But if anybody did, I can't blame them because we've been kind of misled a lot of times by the front office on injury.
Yeah, it feels like the status report that we'll get either tonight or tomorrow morning, it feels like that's a big one because we're waiting on an update about Jaren. We know it's an ankle. At least that's what it was said after the game. But, is he on the injury report? Is he going to miss some time? And then, is Ja going to be out again against OKC? It feels like tomorrow, or whether we get it tonight or tomorrow, that status report is going to be big. It feels big.
It does feel big, and if they're both out tomorrow night, then I kind of feel like you know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And then Friday night, Dallas living what the Grizzlies lived last year right now. Oof. And among many things around the Luka trade, I said now you're really putting it on Kyrie Irving to be that guy that's in there every single night with the history of a lot of things with him. And last night happens, he's out for the year.
Yeah, I'm just sad to see for Kyrie,
It is.
you know, the torn ACL, and certainly a guy that's, you know, getting up there in age and in terms of, you know, playing-wise age for an NBA player, and so you hate to see a guy go down with that injury. But yeah, I mean, now he's out, AD's out, handful of other guys, especially bigs, out for them. They are a complete mess, and so maybe that's your get right game against Dallas. So you at least hope it is. And for Nico Harrison, oh boy, I mean, things went from bad to a whole lot worse with these injuries.
How does he go out to the building Friday night?
I have no idea.
Or any night?
Well, I mean, same question you asked. How does he show up in L.A. for Lakers Mavs? You know, first time
To be a pinata.
Luka, exactly. You know, first time Luka sees his old team, and you know, just I have no idea. There's a lot of questions I have for Nico Harrison.
Yeah, and everywhere. I mean, just bracketology everywhere today. All the big boys out today, whether it's Joe Lenardi and Jerry Palm. And Joe Lenardi, in his synopsis, it's long, and I don't really like reading stuff this long. Just bear with me.
Okay.
But I'm gonna get to my point after reading this. He writes, much has been made of this season's attempt by the SEC to break the record for most NCAA bids from a single conference. Also possible for the league is another record, if you will, that of the team with the worst conference mark to ever make the NCAA field. That standard, 4 games below 500, was last hit 2 years ago by West Virginia, 1915, 7-11 Big 12. In our latest bracketology, both Georgia and Arkansas would equal that mark with both Texas, 5-11 in the SEC, and Oklahoma, 4-12 among the first 4 out. How low is too low? Currently, conference affiliation and record are not listed on selection committee team sheets. Every game, every win, every loss is weighed equally. Yes, Oklahoma and Texas have combined for 9 Q1 wins. They've also combined for a whopping 19 Q1 losses. That's a .321 percentage with roughly half the games at home. If that's an NCAA tournament team, ...
Yeah.
Brian, I've been saying that about Joe Lenardi picking 12 or 13 teams since November.
Yeah.
Mathematically, you got to take some losses.
Yeah. It's got to even out somewhere.
And the funny derisive tweet a lot of people crack on Carl Ravitch, some producer handed him about the worst information you could be handed ever by anybody. At one point in the year, he read the note that the SEC was 500 in league games.
Yeah, really.
Shocking. They're going to be 500 in league games at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's not the only person that has done that this year. That has happened several times, which is
it's called math.
Yeah, very strange, but you know, I guess we fall into that issue every now and then. Math is hard sometimes. I'll be honest. Math's hard for me.
He read that note with. Have you heard the clip of it?
I haven't heard his clip. I've heard, like I said, he's not the only one that's done it. I've heard other people's clips doing it
with all seriousness. So, but then another question gets asked about that, and we talked about it Saturday watching Oklahoma. I've seen Oklahoma in person twice. And just on the hoof, is that an NCAA tournament team? I would say no.
Yeah.
I would say no about Arkansas. I would say no about Texas that I've seen twice. I would probably, let me see what Georgia does tonight at South Carolina.
Sure.
But I would probably say no about South Carolina. But I know there's going to be 68 teams in the tournament, and if they're not in, then who's in? Xavier?
No.
Wake after that last night?
Yeah.
SMU?
Yeah, we talked about it a lot, especially lately. I mean, the bubble this year is pathetic. It's a horrible bubble. And so, yeah, I mean, who are you going to put? And I think if you're just picking who's the best of the bad, I think you lean to those SEC teams.
Nebraska with a 56 net, 2-1 on. Quad 1, 5-9, quad 2, 4-2, quad 3, 9-0. Whoopee.
Yeah.
For Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean it's a bad bubble, and you know I don't know. I can't wait to see what the committee does with it because I think there is multiple ways they could go about it, and we really won't know what they're going to do until they do it. And Georgia, seeing Georgia inside the bracket on I think both brackets is just it's crazy. It's crazy to me because I don't think Georgia is anywhere near an NCAA tournament team. But here we are.
What if win tonight at South Carolina, win at home on Saturday over Vandy, get to 20 wins, which I don't think should matter. It hadn't mattered in 40 years to be a 20-win team.
Yeah, I mean, that Vanderbilt win would be good. I don't think South Carolina really does anything for you. But, yeah, I mean, I think at Vanderbilt, is at Vanderbilt their last game?
No, at home.
Okay, at home. That still does something. I mean, Vanderbilt's a good team. I don't know where on the quad. I guess that'd be a quad one. But
beat St. John's non-conference.
I mean, that's what's carrying them. I mean, that'll carry anybody. And so they've got to send a thank you note. If they make the NCAA tournament, you send a thank you note to Rick Pitino and say, hey, thanks for that non-conference win, because that's really what's gotten them inside
that's
the
about
field
it.
right now. Yeah, I mean, that's what's doing all the work for them. But I mean, it's gonna be fun over this last week, and then certainly into conference tournaments, see how all this plays out.
It will be, and it'll fall out 68 teams.
That's
I
right.
promise you on Selection Sunday.
And the beauty of it is, we'll probably be all mad about it Monday and have our takes about it Monday, but then the games are going to start and we're going to enjoy it. We won't care who's in and who's out. That's how it is every single year.
Well, then you got to play ball and win.
Exactly. And so that is the beauty of March Madness. You'd be mad for a day, maybe two, but then, heck, you got the playing games on.
Somebody always
midweek.
finds something to complain about, whether it's the seed or the region or the pod.
Oh, yeah.
It's never perfect.
No, never perfect, but we'll see. And you mentioned both those bracketologies. Right now, Jerry Palm has Memphis as a 6 seed. They would play the winner of the play-in game, the 11 seeds, Xavier and Baylor. And then over in Joe Lenardi's bracket, he has them as a 7 seed playing Baylor. So in both of the bracketologies, Baylor could be the opponent, and one of them certainly is the opponent for Joe Lenardi. If the winner of that Memphis-Baylor game in Joe Lenardi's bracket would face off against Alabama in the second round. So Tigers, 6, 7. It feels like Jerry Palm is the if you want a teacher to grade your work, it feels like Jerry Palm is the better grader. I mean, he has Memphis as a 6, where Joe Lenardi has him as a 7. I saw he had Mississippi State as a 5, and I think Joe Lenardi has Mississippi State as a 7. So, I mean, Jerry Palm, he's giving favorable grades out here.
And Palm has Ole Miss as a 6.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, it's Jerry Palm. I don't know what his grading scale is, but I like it.
Maybe Eli and Greg have softened him up for the locals.
For the locals, I don't know. And Joe Lenardi, who it felt like always had the soft spot for Memphis, maybe Jerry Palm's getting that.
Yeah,
Joe Lenardi getting a little bit away from it. I don't know what's going on.
If Lenardi's correct, that first-round Tigers-Baylor game in Raleigh, that would be against Scott Drew.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be a fun matchup. And Baylor, a team that's been kind of up and down this season. They have the 5-star recruit that is going to be in the
Draft.
NBA next year, VJ Edgecombe, who is fabulous, but outside of him, that team has kind of struggled this year, playing a little bit better down the stretch. So I think that'd be a fun matchup in the first round.
And you mentioned Jerry Palm. He would have the Tigers playing the winner of Xavier Baylor.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
there's Baylor again.
Exactly.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. So it sounds
Winner
like
would get probably Michigan.
Yeah.
I don't fear any of the Jerry Palm stuff. Having to face Alabama second round.
Yeah, I don't want
probably be the end of the road.
I don't want to play Alabama. I don't know if I want to play Michigan. I mean, Michigan throws out 2 7-footers in their starting lineup, and I could
Brian,
give
answer me
Memphis
this
some
question.
Trouble. Okay.
Kind of a law school question.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
What is a tournament run? What is a March run? What would be a March run for the Memphis Tigers?
I don't know.
That's F on law school. Then.
Yeah. I don't know if law school gives pop quizzes though. I think I'd be more prepared in law school. I think it varies by the team, honestly.
For this Tiger team, what would be a successful March?
Sweet 16.
What could
that would be considered a run. I mean, a March run would be Sweet
no
16.
doubt.
Yeah.
Sweet 16 is considered that. let me submit this. With the win on Sunday, win tonight, win Friday night, win at Dickey's, win a first round, lose in the second round, does that not suffice as a March run? It's sure a good March.
It's certainly a good March. I don't know.
And a heck of a lot better than last year's March.
That's certainly true. Anything will be. I mean, you win a game in the conference
I think I'm
tournament,
asking, do you incorporate the conference tournament into run talk?
I don't think most people do. Like, I think if you just put it out there for everyone and said, hey, look, Memphis just went on a March run after losing in the second round, I think people would say that's not a March run because the March run is in the March Madness NCAA tournament and not in the conference tournament. So I think I would say there's probably a little bit of separation there.
Come Grizzlies playoff time.
Oh, jeez.
What's a Grizzlies run?
I don't know, like forcing a game 7 in the second round, maybe? I don't know.
Winning the first round and
super competitive in the second round.
4-2 or 4-3?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd say that's a run for the Grizzlies. Just so different in
anything
NBA,
kind
obviously.
of above both ideas we've laid out. Well, it speaks for itself. Of course it is.
Of course.
Sweet 16, of course it is.
Exactly. That's a good question. I don't think I was ready for it, but it was a good question.
And I thought about it today
Yeah.
because if somebody at SEC got on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and won,
No, that's a good point.
and then got beat in the first round, didn't they have a heck of a great finish and have a run?
When I think you're right, and that's the weird thing because I do think if, I don't know, let's say Kentucky plays, they're a team that falls in, they're playing on Wednesday, and they make a run.
They could.
And they could. And they, make it all the way, they win it, and then they go to the NCAA tournament, they get hot. I think when you're talking March runs for Kentucky, I think you would incorporate the SEC tournament. But I think that's the difference. I think people hold the SEC tournament to a much higher standard than the American Athletic Conference tournament.
But winning should really matter, shouldn't it?
It should. But yeah, I
and
think
a trophy and the cutting the nets down and the team picture with the trophy out on the floor.
Absolutely. I just think I think it's different for every team, which is weird.
You're grading on a curve.
I don't want to. I'm just thinking of the reception. I'm not even thinking it from my standpoint. I'm thinking of it more from the reception that I think that would get from other people. But it's a good question, and we'll see that Tiger team out there tonight against UTSA. We'll talk a lot more about that throughout the show and certainly in our next segment. Let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Matt Infield from Action News 5. He'll join us to talk Tigers. We'll talk a lot about what happened over the weekend and tonight's game against UTSA. 3:45, we'll get more into the Grizzlies and their loss against the Hawks, a 132-130 loss against the Atlanta Hawks. 4 o'clock, Brent Beard from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. He'll join us to talk college football. Brett, meetings all over the place in college football. Settlements going on. Yes, a lot going on in college football. So we'll get to a lot of that with Brent. We might get to a little college basketball towards the end with Brent Beard. I've got some names for the Florida State job that I might throw at him for basketball that I saw going around. 4:30, we'll talk a lot of SEC. We know Tuesdays and Wednesdays, the big slate for SEC play, so we'll get to a lot of SEC as final week of the regular season. It is very big for a lot of these teams. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Beau Marchant will join us to talk the NFL. We got to talk a lot of NFL Combine with Beau Marchant. He was in Indianapolis last week, so we'll get to that, but also news all over the place when it comes to the NFL offseason. Really off and running right now, so we'll get to all of that at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, some NBA news to get there, some NFL news, some college football news, Tigers, really anything during what's trending. Then at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. It's Family Leisure's first ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event going on right now. Pools from $19.99, spas from $29.99. Cold plunge and swim spas, they're priced to move. And don't forget about the patio furniture. Patio furniture starter sets starting at $799. Register to win either a free pool, spa, or patio set. Stop by today and sign up only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
Landon Schmidt in the big chair doing a great job producing this show. This is Sports Time. He's Bryant. I'm Brett. We're with you until 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line at 901-360-8255. And all guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. We're always in our Family Leisure studio, even on a yucky day like this. This really makes you dream of spring and summer and being out by the pool. And the great people at Family Leisure can always take care of that. This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all the 2025 models and always special leasing options. Driving luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day is the Grizzlies and their loss last night against the Atlanta Hawks. 132-120, the final score, and it came down to another last-second shot that won the game for the Atlanta Hawks. Sean Coleman had this on Twitter. The Memphis Grizzlies have lost 3 straight games by 2 points or less via an opponent's game-winning shot within the final 6 seconds of the game. This is the first time an NBA team has experienced such a streak since the Seattle Supersonics around Christmas in 2002. The Seattle Supersonics, Brett.
Team that no longer exists.
That's right.
Only in marketing and merchandising.
In 2002, a year where I was 2 years old. It's the last time that happened, Brett. It's not good.
I turned 40 that year,
well,
Brad. It's any consolation to you.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's the point. It's a long time ago, but now the Grizzlies are experiencing it firsthand. Last night, I mean, just the blows keep on coming after we learned right before we got out that it was going to be very unlikely that Ja Morant and Santi Aldama played. They ended up being out, but then 2 minutes into the game, Jaren Jackson Jr. went down with an injury, immediately went out, went to the locker room, and never returned to the game. Desmond Bane, he stepped up, his first career triple-double, 35 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. He was great. He put the team on his back. He did a lot for him. You had to have him. But at the end of the game, you try to put the ball in his hands, you try to have him make a play, and you've got the best defender in the NBA on you, Dyson Daniels, who's currently averaging 3 steals per game, knocks the ball loose. They get it, we know. Karis LeVert takes it the other way and lays it in. I have a lot of questions and everything about that last sequence. To me, it felt like Taylor Jenkins was a little scared to call a timeout. It felt like he wanted to go timeout and then kind of stopped and let it play out. I've seen some people point out that you let it play out because you had Trae Young out there. You don't want to call a timeout and have Atlanta take Trae Young out for defensive purposes. But then the play starts and they're setting up screens and they're going the opposite direction. They're going to the left when Trae Young was on the right. I just didn't really understand the end of the game. The Grizzlies end up winning that one. And I should say this, I understand. Ja was out. Jaren Jackson Jr. was out. You were missing some guys. Santi Aldama, who's been great, was also out. Grizzlies up by 10 with 5:25 left in the game. You've got to be able to close those games when you have a double-digit lead that late into a game. They just weren't able to do it. Defense was a big issue last night, and then obviously giving up that last-second point. I mean, it feels like Groundhog Day, Brett. I've never seen the movie. I hear it's a good one, but it feels like we just keep showing up for games, and the same thing just keeps on happening night after night.
You know I've never seen it.
I know you've never seen it, so I knew that reference would hit for you.
Certified Grizaster by Eli Savoy last night.
That's right. He put out the tweet when
official
Eli
Grizaster
says
meteorologist.
That means Grizaster.
Oh, man. Never thought we'd hit a disaster this
Here
year,
we are.
did you?
No,
My
no
top
chance.
story last night, the 3 Heartbreakers at home, and as angry as I've ever seen this fan base, and, of course, more injuries.
Yep.
That can't be helped. The injuries can't be helped, but what could be helped is that lineup Saturday night for exactly this reason.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know when injury's going to hit. You have to control the controllables.
Yep.
And Saturday night, you could have had a much better lineup out there.
Absolutely.
And not drop that game because now injury is hit. Fan base is irate, as mad and as angry as I've ever seen it. And even some of the paid shields are now piling on, and some of the unpaid shields in the media are now piling on the coach, on Taylor Jenkins. You notice who they don't go after? They never go after Wexler. They never go after Para. And they never go after Kleinman.
Yep.
Because they signed the check.
Well, money's good, Brent. Money's real good.
Easy to go after the coach.
Sure is. No, it's always easy to go after that.
That did not hire the coaching staff.
Exactly.
That did not go to this high-octane offense and way away from any defensive tendencies. A lot of nights, he doesn't even fill out the lineup card.
Yeah.
But don't go. So let's hammer the coach, but not anybody in the front office.
It's a great point by you.
Bunch of cowards.
Great point by you. Very easy to throw the coach under the bus.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, Memphis Tigers playing their second to last game of the regular season. A lot of eyes were maybe not watching the game, but on what was happening down in Denton last night, Wichita State and North Texas. If Wichita State had pulled the upset and beat North Texas, then we would have woken up this morning. Tigers would have been the conference champ. They would have had the #1 seed. Now with a win tonight for Memphis, they would at least win a share of the American Athletic Conference title, and they would be the #1 seed because of that tiebreaker with North Texas. They win tonight and win Friday night, then that would give them the outright conference championship. So big night tonight and the finale against USF. And what are they going to step into? I think they're going to step into a very sleepy environment tonight against UTSA, a gym that only holds 4,000 people, Brett. It's going to be quiet. According to Kim Palm, 4,000 seats in that stadium tonight. So it's gonna be sleepy. But I think this UTSA team will come out with a lot of confidence. They got a 84-56 win over Rice over the weekend, so maybe they come out with confidence. Don't want to let them knock down threes early. That's something they like to do, is knock down the three ball. But I do think this should be a game defensively. UTSA really, really bad. This should be a game where Tigers, I think, early, just get it down to Dane Danger, let him work, let him set the tone.
Big wins.
And then, I think it will be a big win tonight for the Tigers.
My not top story, the Tigers on the road at UTSA, 45 in the net versus 213. That's 213 in the net. So what should the Tigers net be after, say, a 15 to 20 point win tonight or a 5 to 10 point win tonight? What should it be? All these net crybabies that act like they can't figure it out. It's simple. The Tigers played and had success in a great non-conference run-up to the conference season. Then nothing in the conference. It's nowhere to go. We talked about there's nowhere to go. You're stuck. Had a killer non-conference loss to Arkansas State, and then the 2 losses in the league to 10-point Wichita State. It's not that mysterious.
No, it's not. It absolutely isn't. How about this? 4,080. Take a guess, Brett, of where that is out of all the arenas, all the 364 gyms in college basketball. Where do you think 4,080 sits you?
302.
Wow, 261. We got a lot of small gyms in college basketball. That puts them between Monmouth and Stony Brook. So,
way to go, Stony Brook.
How about that? Stony Brook, 4,00009 seats in their arena. Only a couple spots above North Alabama. I was at North Alabama earlier this year. Tiny gym. Gym. Very cozy. So I think that's what the Tigers are going to walk into tonight. Well, that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're talking Tigers with Matt Infield.
Sunrise is a state of mind. Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar aren't just the best places in Memphis to get a hot, fresh breakfast or lunch. Both Sunrise locations are places where you can relax and forget about everything outside. You can sit, eat, have a drink, look at the original folk art, maybe make a friend or two. Sunrise doesn't mean you have to get up at sunrise. Sunrise doesn't mean you have to constantly be in a rush. Sunrise means you should be able to go where the employees care about you and not your politics. Plus, really good biscuits.
Progressive knows owning a home can be hard, but not always. Like when you're relaxing on your patio, enjoying a nice, quiet evening. So quiet. Except for the sound of the neighbor's party. Which you said you'd go to if you weren't busy. And you're playing right on the patio. That's not exactly busy, is it? Maybe you should just stay inside. At least Progressive's Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance is the easiest part of owning a home. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
All aboard, football fans! The Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Wrapping up this rack over here on 40 westbound near Sycamore View Road. It's had traffic a little bit slow in this area between Abilene at times, all the way up to Sycamore View Road going westbound on I-40. Again, it's in its cleanup stages. There was a table or chair out on the roadway a few minutes ago on Bill Morris Parkway westbound at Winchester. Hopefully TDOT's going to go retrieve that here quickly. With this rain in our area, please give yourself extra time out here this afternoon. Hey, if your lawn needs some help this time of the year, call Lawn Solutions 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Tires. Here are your hosts, let's start sports with Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios, and joining us now on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line, Matt Infield from Action News 5. He joins us every week to talk Tigers. Matt, thanks so much for joining us. Let's start with what happened over the weekend, a 88-81 win over UAB in Birmingham. Everyone building this up. Dane Danger versus Yaxel Lindenborg. Round 2. Both guys in foul trouble, but Dane Danger, really good. 16 points, 17 rebounds. It was scary. Had you a little nervous most of that second half. Tigers able to do enough. You look at the production. Colby Rogers, 21 points, 5 made threes. PJ Haggerty turns it on in the second half. What did you see from the Tigers in what was a pretty hostile road environment against UAB?
Yeah, it's just kind of a team that clearly has the ultimate belief that no matter what situation they're in, they're going to win that game. Because I can tell you for sure that obviously we saw the Tigers last year lose that game in Birmingham, and there were a lot of points in the game where it felt like UAB was going on a run, and they were hitting a bunch of shots with guys that were comfortable in their home gym, and maybe some players that you wouldn't expect to go off started feeling a little bit. There were a lot of points in the game, even the second half, where like the Blazers went up 9-10 points, and it felt like it was a couple possessions away from getting away from the Tigers, but they had a counterpunch every single time, and then once they started getting stops, they really took control of the game. Like you said, PJ Haggerty just put on a shot-making clinic in the second half. Tough shot after tough shot. Deja, obviously, it's funny. Yaxel said after the first matchup, congrats on the best game of your career, and Day might have had the 2 best games of his career this past week, including one of them against Yaxel and UAB. I mean, he's just been absolutely incredible lately. One of the best big men in the entire country, and we talked about it a bunch. Colby Rogers completely changes the ceiling of this team, because when you get that version of him, this is one of the toughest teams in the country to beat. So, yeah, it's just a really kind of mentally resilient and tough group that stuck with it for 40 minutes, and even when it didn't look like things were going their way, never kind of gave in to that and had the counterpunch and the response every time. And over the course of 40 minutes, I think they showed that they were the better team in that game and the best team in the conference as well.
Matt, we did do it. Brian and I did do it. We went W's and L's going through all the 31. Most people kind of now just kind of do basketball picks like that, non and conference. 10 in the Tigers won 10-9. They're going to win 16 in conference. Maybe one or two out there may have been on the higher end and had 10. Most were around 9. Honestly, candidly, I was 8. Nobody had 16 in conference.
No, I mean, this team is far surpassed. I mean, even whatever expectation you had for them coming into the season, especially after the Alabama and the North Carolina games, the exhibitions where, you saw some sides, but honestly, they really struggled shooting the ball. I think most people thought they had probably a ceiling in conference play similar to maybe the 2022 team, which I think they lost 4 or 5 games in conference off the top of my head, if I remember correctly. No, I don't think anyone saw this coming. And the fact that, they're going to end up with, at most, I would say, I don't see a world in which they lose both games this week, even if they get upset in one of them, which, again, I don't think that's happening either. But, the 2 losses, and you took care of, for the most part, all of the top teams in your conference. You swept UAB, you beat North Texas. It's 2 road losses against a team that has one of the best scorers in the entire country in Temple, with Jamal Bashford Jr., and then a Wichita State team that's kind of rounded into form a little bit more in the second half of the season in an environment that's still one of the tougher in the conference to play. So, yeah, I think that if you laid out the go ahead.
And it was overtime.
In overtime, yes. In a game where they kind of gave it away at the end as well. If you would have laid out the facts of how conference play has gone for the Tigers to any reasonable fan at the start of the season, I think they sign up for it 100 times out of 100. So, well, we'll see where it lands them, in terms of the big dance, CD and whatnot, and obviously still the conference tournament to go. But, yeah, I mean, I think that they have surpassed expectations of basically everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look, I think these last 2 games, Nicholas Jourdain's played really well. Yeah, I think post-game against Rice, both he and Penny said with Dave Woloshin on the post-game show that they had a conversation with each other. And I think Jourdain said it was kind of a tough conversation for him to hear about Penny just saying kind of, hey, this is what I'm seeing from you right now. This is what I want to see from you. This is why we brought you in. This is where I think you need to improve. And you look, Jourdain had a big game against Rice and then against UAB, 9 points, 5 rebounds, but then he was defensively matched up against Yaxel and really made it extremely tough for Yaxel to get much going. What have you seen from Nicholas Jourdain over these next couple of games, and do you think that he can continue this good play? Because it's been, there have been games where you're wondering, not a great game from him. Can he continue doing this into the conference tournament and into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, so actually, I didn't hear what he had to say to Wolo post-game, but I asked him in the post-game press conference after Rice, what's clicked lately, because last season it felt pretty steady with him. This year it's obviously been a little bit more kind of up and down, but when I asked him that, he said that it's been all about the focus on rebounding and defense and just putting all of his energy into that. And he mentioned the conversation that he had with Penny where they talked about mindset of, I'm not going to let anyone box me out. I'm going to be a dominant defensive player. And I think you see a lot of times with role players like that, when they really elevate their game and bring their best stuff to the aspects of the game that they do well, then all of a sudden the other stuff kind of falls in line a little bit as well. And, the Tigers will need Nick to score 15 points a night. I mean, if you get nights like he had against Rice, he'll take it any day of the week. But even the UAB game, like you said, it wasn't this incredible stat line, but he was really good defensively, and he had frankly a couple of really key putbacks on the offensive glass in that game. I'm thinking of one that put them up, I think 75-73 if I remember correctly, and then I think he had the dagger in that game too. The danger missed layup, and then he comes flying in for a putback slam, and he got fouled, and he made the free throw. So yeah, I think that it's him. It's kind of what you mentioned. The conversation with Penny about just pouring into what he does really well, which is kind of the glue guy stuff, energy, rebounding, defense, and then anything you get on top of that is just gravy. So, yeah, as long as Nick doesn't have to make too many decisions with the ball in his hands, because I think that's where he's kind of got in trouble a little bit this year. But if you could eliminate that, then yeah, I absolutely think you could get the best version of him at the perfect time of year, frankly, too.
Yeah.
Have you gotten the pod sites out and decided which one you want to go to?
Yeah.
I think that we're probably – I haven't looked at all of them yet. I think that we're looking at anything that's driving distance. So no – what is it? I think like Seattle's a possibility.
Seattle.
Yeah, like no Seattle. Is Providence on there, I think. Like probably
are.
Nothing – yeah, no Northeast. Probably no. I mean, we could drive to Wichita, but I don't really have much desire to spend a ton of time in Wichita, with all due respect to Wichita. So, yeah, I think
Raleigh, yeah.
Raleigh's be cool. Yeah. Like stuff like that. Stuff in the general Mid-South, Southeast. I know that Denver's one. We have eternally floated the idea of, like, Denver's probably right on the edge of, like, driving distance and fly. Because for me, I would rather fly anywhere, but our photographers that have to bring all the gear, they hate checking it on the planes because it's expensive and it's a bit of a pain in the butt. So they will drive almost anywhere within reasonable distance. So I think that's kind of, we've drawn a line in the sand that, like, Denver is kind of the make or break for us.
Oh, and Matt, at Channel 5, I guarantee you can go through the archives and find some great footage from in the day of Tiger games in Raleigh.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, our archive system digitally goes back 19 years, but we have a ton of stuff on tape that if I really wanted to do some digging, I think that we could find it as well. I think I just looked, actually. I think Lexington might be kind of the most ideal. Lexington or Atlanta are probably two that come to mind where it's like, all right, we could definitely make that drive happen. So I'm not sure how likely it is that either one of those happen, but that would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last thing for you, Matt, when you look at, going forward, you look at the last 3 games, 3-point shooting has kind of been an issue for the Tigers over the last 3 games, shooting only 24% from 3. What are you seeing in the games where this Tiger team's gotten a little cold from deep?
I think from what I don't remember every attempt, but I feel like the looks have been good, and I feel like you kind of have to trust the large sample with this team that they've been one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the entire country all year, and you've got a bunch of guys that can make those shots. I also think that, we're at a point in the season, too, where, and it's not necessarily excused because it's something that applies to everyone, but tired legs are a real thing, and especially, some of the star players on the team have played a lot of minutes seemingly every night. So, it's not really something I'm worried about. As long as, the ball movement and, the shots are there and the shots are good, I think it's time they're going to fall. And to be honest, I'm pretty intrigued to see what this team looks like when they get to Fort Worth, because at that point, they're going to have an entire week off. They'll play the Friday regular season finale against USF, and then they will not play again until the quarterfinals in Fort Worth the following Friday. So I think a week off for a lot of these guys, especially with some of the nagging injuries, I think we'll do them a lot of good, and maybe some fresh legs. We'll get that 3-point shooting back on track.
Yeah, no, it is set up really nice for them with all that time off. Well, Matt, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
All right, gentlemen, enjoy the day. Talk to you guys later, all right?
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt Infield from Action News 5 joining us every single week to talk Tigers. All right, Brett, you want to get to Tiger Bankroll before we get to a break here?
Let's do it now. Right. Here's the standings. 19-10. Darien 19-10. Tigers are 14-15 against the spread. Darien's picked them correctly 19 times with 10 defeats. He's at 24-30. Connor's 18-11 picking Tiger games. He's at 18-80. I'm 14-15, just like the Tigers. The Tigers are 14-15. I'm 14-15 at 18-40. You're 13-16. At 9:55. Your wager, please.
I'm going to go with Memphis. I'm going to go $300 on the Tigers.
Big wager for you, Brian.
Start doing something.
Your brother Connor goes Memphis for $250. He's up 18.80. Darian goes Texas San Antonio for $150. I'm going to go UTSA plus the 8.5. for $560.
Whoa!
560, big wager, biggest wager of the year.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that will.
I've seen Texas San Antonio one time ever in Fayetteville. George Gervin's little brother was on the team, and he was called Ice Cube instead of Iceman. That's his nickname.
That's good.
He was the Ice Cube.
Wow. Huh.
He was not as good as the big brother.
I believe it. With the nickname Ice Cube, I'm not surprised. Well, no, Ice Cube himself is a cool guy, but if your nickname's Ice Cube, I don't know. But hopefully Tigers.
When you got Iceman.
Yeah, when you're being compared to Iceman, that's never easy. Hopefully Tigers can get out there and get a big win tonight on the road against UTSA. Let's go ahead and get to another break. And when we return, we got to talk more Grizzlies and their loss last night against the Hawks. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Progressive knows owning a home can be hard, but not always. Like when you're relaxing on your patio, enjoying a nice, quiet evening. So quiet. Except for the sound of the neighbor's party. Which you said you'd go to if you weren't busy. And you're playing right on the patio. That's not exactly busy, is it? Maybe you should just stay inside. At least Progressive's Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance is the easiest part of owning a home. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 912-715-5199.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? We have it covered at Humdinger. It's quick, it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. Many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Cars. Here are your hosts, Glenn Star Sports Movie and Brian Davis.
Well, it was a 132-130 loss last night for the Grizzlies against the Atlanta Hawks. A game that featured another last-second go-ahead shot by the opposing team. It also featured injuries. Jaren Jackson Jr. left the game just 2 minutes in. That was not fun to watch last night, Brett. It really hasn't been fun to watch over the last couple of games.
No, last night was rock bottom. Rock bottom for the year, rock bottom with another injury, rock bottom with the result, how it finished. You just looked up and it was over all of a sudden.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy.
That really happened.
Yeah, and you thought, okay, well, you can either win it here or you can go to overtime. I don't know how many people thought lose it in regulation when you had the ball and time winding down, about 10 seconds left in the game. I don't think anybody watching in attendance thought they're going to lose this game in regulation, but that's exactly what happened.
It did, and early in the game, 2 minutes in, Jaren Jackson's injury, he ended up with 0 points. To be that close with him missing that much time, almost a miracle in itself. G.G. Jackson with a really solid game, and probably, no doubt, the best game of the year for Vince Williams.
Yeah, and what you said about Jaren, I think that was the thing. I mean, it's one thing if Jaren Jackson Jr. gets injured and it's a game where you don't have Jaren and you don't have Ja and you lose by, 5 to 10 points, you go, okay, well, you didn't have your two best players in there. That's hard to do for any team. But the fact that they were out Ja, they lose Jaren in the first 2 minutes, and then they're leading by 10 points with 5 minutes left in the game, and they're still not able to shut the door and win the game. That was a really disappointing part of last night's game. You're right. Those two guys that, coming back from injury still feels like trying to find their role, find their footing. Like you said, Vince Williams, 15 points. A good night for him. G.G. Jackson, 11 points and 7 rebounds he added. So, two good nights there. But I think the biggest thing, especially down the stretch, was the defense. You gave up 82 points in the paint, which can happen when Jaren Jackson Jr. is not in the game. Give up 42 points in the second quarter, and then you allow the Hawks to shoot 66.7% from the field in the fourth quarter. Those numbers are not numbers that lead to many victories. Those are losing numbers on the defensive end.
It is, and a good game for Zach Edey. I will go back. I've said this a couple times through the year. If you'd told me in the preseason 9.4 points, 7.7 rebounds, and he's played in 47 games, I would say, okay, pretty good.
Sure. I'd like to see him be a little better defensively. I think there's been times where he's kind of struggled defensively, and so I'd like to see that. But you're right. I mean, he's
pretty good last night against Capella.
Yeah, but the Hawks, they found ways to, try to exploit him on pick and rolls and find ways to get him off his man and kind of a mismatch where he really struggles. But no, I mean, I think Zach Edey has been fine this year, and like you said, when you're averaging those numbers, if you had asked that on draft day, I'd say, yeah, no, that's good. I'll take that. And so you just really want to see this team continue to improve and those two rookies continue to improve. Jalen Wells has been fantastic. Zach Edey's been good, and you want to see those guys because it looks like in the playoffs you're going to rely on both those guys in the starting lineup. And so, yeah, I mean, right now I think they're showing they can do it, but, it's going to be a lot different come playoff time.
If Ja's not in there tomorrow night, there's no holding back the panic, is it?
I don't think so because, again, maybe you do. I don't remember seeing an injury in Friday night's game.
I don't.
Where he got injured to make that shoulder sore or anything. So I don't know where that came from.
I saw his feelings hurt.
Sure. So, I haven't seen anything. And obviously things happen behind the scenes. I'm not saying that it's a made-up injury or anything. But
and last year we didn't see it coming.
Sure. And so just the fact that not only, he is out of nowhere on the injury report, and nobody knows, well, when did this injury happen? But then you have Taylor Jenkins last night in media availability before the game say, this is a short-term thing, we're not concerned about it. Was asked a follow-up question about, basically the question was, well, Coach, he hasn't played 5 consecutive games this season. Are you confident? How can you be confident come playoff time that you can run him out there every single game in a 7-game series at most? And he said, no, we know that Ja Morant, he's got that in him. He's going to be ready to go when the moments are the biggest. And you go, well,
we got to see it.
We got to see it. You can't just wait until playoffs to show me that. And so yeah, I think if he's out again tomorrow night,
19 career games he's played in playoffs, 7 and 12. His record.
Wow. Yeah, so I do think if he's out tomorrow night, I think that's when a lot of questions come, and hopefully those questions are asked before the game if he is out again, and hopefully we can get some answers from it because I really don't know.
And it should be potentially more than just Taylor Jenkins answering those questions. Sure. So where's Kleiman?
Yeah. No, I think you're right, and so that's what I said earlier. I mean, I think whenever we get it, whether it's tonight or whether it's tomorrow morning, that status report feels like a very important one because you don't want to be without Jaren Jackson for, a couple weeks or something like that. You'd like to see Ja Morant back. You wouldn't like to see him miss 3 straight games. So it feels like tomorrow's or the injury report for tomorrow night's game is going to be very, very important.
Never has the coach mattered less in NBA history than right now during games on the floor. So many decisions being made by analytics and the NBA crowd and the front office. So now all of a sudden it's his fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point because, I mean, we knew in the offseason, complete revamp of the coaching staff. You bring in this, whiz kid from the Euro leagues that you're going to run his offense. You bring in guys for defense. It feels like, it's just a bunch of people coming together to throw stuff together.
And they walked in and said, Taylor, meet your new staff.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it is, there are questions to be answered, and we don't, I don't know if we're ever going to get the answers to those questions. I think, like you said earlier, it's very easy to throw the coach under the bus, and it feels like that's what's going to happen here. And now you look up and, fourth seed in the West, and Houston only a game back, and I think you feel like you have some separation between the 5 and the 6 where the Warriors are, 17 games back, 4 games back from Houston that's in the 5, but you look up and they've been red hot since acquiring Jimmy Butler, 8-2 in their last 10 games. So I mean, you don't want to hit this skid and start losing games because I mean you could easily drop to 5, maybe even drop to 6.
Went from sugar to bad stuff really fast.
Very
and
quick.
All with the team coming in tomorrow night.
That's right, yes. And the fact that the way these games have ended, I mean, Brett, there's an alternate universe out there somewhere where we're sitting talking about a 4-game winning streak and look at the way they've won
Counting
these
magic
games.
numbers
and
down.
Man, they just have the luck on their side.
Who are those guys?
Yeah, and now, we look up and you've been on the wrong side of 3 games where, they beat you at the buzzer, basically. So it has not been fun. And tomorrow night against OKC.
So let's blame the
test.
coach.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
so gutless.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But let's go ahead and wrap up this hour and get to a break. Then when we return, we're going to talk a whole lot of college football, a little bit of college basketball as well. Brent Beard from First Coast News in Jacksonville, he joins us next.
just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure. We run it I-40. Family and fun come together.
It's our business to support yours. Partner with your go-to source for building your business. We can help you streamline your operations by supplying the whole job from start to finish. Any questions? Our Pro Desk is ready to answer the call with supply sourcing, custom orders, large equipment rentals, and more. Elevate your efficiency and take on more projects with the partner you can trust. The Home Depot. Our pros get more done.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe in 2024. We can't wait to serve you.
Brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. They were dodging a big piece of debris a few minutes ago on 40 eastbound near Hollywood. With this rain coming down out here, give yourself plenty of extra travel time as rush hour traffic starts to build, especially on 240 east from Mill Branch out to 385 Billmorse Parkway. Still looks good at the moment, headed out towards Collierville. If your lawn needs some help this time of the year, call Lawn Solutions right now at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. College football talk every Tuesday with Brent Beer, Heisman voter, and on Twitter X at Brent Beer. SEC, ACC, AAC, we talk it all with Brent. Here's Brent Beer with Brian and Brent.
Brent Beer joins us now from First Coast News down in Jacksonville. Talk college football and college basketball. Brent, let's start in the ACC where we had settlements today. Florida State, Clemson, we know they've been red hot for the last year or so over the ACC and their exit fees. Now we have an answer to those. What happened today between the ACC and specifically Florida State and Clemson?
Yeah, I would like to be the attorneys with the billable hours that have been involved with all of this. The Florida State has wanted to get a better deal done for quite a while, and there's two parts of this. One would be the immediate, meaning they would, the ACC has basically had pretty well even revenue. Florida State's view of that is, well, we really don't agree with that because when we play, we have higher ratings than everybody else, and we think we need to have more money because of that. So basically, I think it's because of percentages. That's what they wanted. That's what they have gotten. Also, but there's another part of this. My understanding is this is going to last for about 5 years or so as far as this deal is concerned, and then we've got a lot of deals coming up again around 2030 and 2031. Now, I've kind of leaned on a Florida State source that I trust with this, and he said they're happy to get the money, but they still want out. And they still want out of the ACC, enter a better situation. Will there be a better situation? Is a really good question. And the other thing is, I know this sounds like a heck of a lot of money, and it is, but compared to what has been involved with this at the 2030 level, to get out of the league would be under $100 million. And guys, we've seen different numbers like you have with this, like $250 million, $500 million, and all to get out of it. So it's a mixed bag for them, but the lawsuits are going away, and they appear to be pretty happy with this right now.
You say 5 years, Brent. It reminds me a lot of I sadly chuckle with some people that get introduced as Nobel Peace Prize winner for negotiating peace in the Middle East. You think we got peace in the Middle East?
Yeah, no, we never will either. Yeah,
and I yell at my TV. Give your prize back. It didn't last till we got home good. It feels like this is going to be the same way. You say 5 years. Yeah. I say those same lawyers that settled the deal today are already drawing up to have another fight soon.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no doubt about that. And the thing that I've also seen the reports, like you guys, I'm sure have, are by the way, Miami and North Carolina are going to get a little bit of a bump too. Mm-hmm. So,
well, if I'm Virginia, where's mine?
Well, sure. Absolutely. But guys,
I'm Georgia
I just
Tech.
wonder.
Y'all got my address, don't you?
Absolutely. Hey, and we and we have direct deposit like everybody else does. Okay?
Here's my routing number.
That's right.
Absolutely. So, and my curiosity gets me, guys, is when North Carolina was mentioned, does that mean that the current the head coach of North Carolina kind of got a whiff of this? And I'm not saying that's the reason he went to North Carolina. Now I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that probably didn't hurt him a bit, did it?
I don't think Bill Belichick went to North Carolina wanting them to join the SEC.
No.
Not at all.
I think what was probably glad to hear was that they would have a little bit more money in the coffers over the next few years when he was there. So, listen.
So this is a big win for Jim Phillips, PhD, isn't it?
Yes, or it certainly appears to be at this moment because everyone's together. Now look, they can sing Kumbaya and look at this as a victory, and I understand some of that. But the reality is, too, once they get into the regular season, that will help them with Alabama coming to Tallahassee. They'll have the stadium refurnished, and there'll be a lot of good feelings about that. But as I hear from FSU fans, and there are a bunch of them down here, as you can imagine, the reality is, okay, this is good. We get a little bit more money, but we fans are in our seat, and about October, certainly by November, we're going to realize, well, we still got Wake, Boston College, Pitt, and name the other schools that are still coming in here, and that still is not exciting us.
Yeah. No, man, not at all. Speaking of North Carolina and the ACC, I was really excited last week when it came out that North Carolina would be featured on Hard Knocks in Bill Belichick's first year. And then I wake up this morning and the deal's falling through and we're not going to get it anymore. I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, I may not be able to sleep at night because of that. But I really kind of wonder what broke down with that. That would be interesting. But I mean, does Belichick just not want anyone being able to follow him around, or that freshman cornerback may say something that he shouldn't have?
Yeah, it might be more around the fact that you're around college age kids for the documentary. But I did see something that said NFL owners weren't thrilled about the idea of Hard Knocks going to UNC, which I thought was kind of weird because none of these NFL teams want to participate in it, and so
they hate college football.
Very strange. Well, that's a good point, Brett. That's true.
Yeah. People don't realize that, do they, Brett? But that's true.
It just is, and college football is left having to play along with them, having to credential every scout and give them all the access because you're selling your players on getting to that, and the NFL looks at college football with utter contempt.
Well, see, my issue with that is, and you hear this all the time, you've got these scouts at games who are taking up, and they just bent over backwards for them, but they're taking the place of hard-working people who cover college football, radio, print, TV, whatever, and they're kept out of the press box often sometimes because of that. And, that.
And every one of those NFL scouts, from about the 6 or 7 minute mark left in the third quarter, it's cannonball express to the elevator and try to get out of there. None of them stay to the end of the game. It's like they're allergic to traffic.
Yeah.
They won't stay. They won't stay at a 20-20 game. The score's tied 20-20 with 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. No matter what, I mean, they will knock you down to get out of there.
Oh yeah, and they will. Their catchphrase is, "Well, we've seen enough."
Yeah, I like that. We've seen enough. Okay.
How have you seen a quarterback under pressure with a 2-minute drive to go?
Yeah.
You just go listen to it on the radio. You could listen to the whole game on the radio.
Good. Could have watched it on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. That saved them a lot of expenses.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right about that. It was announced earlier today that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee adding 5 new members to the 13-member group, including Mark D'Antonio, a couple other ADs in there as well. Former Ole Miss tight end Wesley Walls a part of that. Do any of these moves do anything for you, Brent?
Well, look, to me, the more coaches or players that we get in there instead of ADs, look, and I'm not against ADs. I just think they've got so much stuff on their plate. Get some people who have coached and they really know the game,
and
they
go
understand.
To games.
Absolutely. So that
I would rather that committee be credentialed than all those NFL scouts.
Yeah, well, agree with that. Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. And guys, from what we're reading and hearing, as these playoffs expand, and if they go by the top 25 that they shout from the mountaintops about starting in November. On every Tuesday night, there will be less need for a committee. At some point, that might be a good thing, too.
I'm all for less of a committee and even a smaller committee.
Yeah. I don't think that hurt anybody's feelings.
I didn't notice in any of these releases, did Hunter Yurchek roll off the committee this year?
I haven't seen that unless you have.
I haven't seen him on any list for next year. He did enough damage this year. Greg Sankey should ask for the designation back. He did such a poor job for the SEC.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through this. I don't see anything.
But he was ready to fight for Bama, and that was about it.
Yeah.
I did see this as well. Ward Manuel being replaced by Baylor AD Mack Rhodes. So I mean.
Mack Rhodes, I mean, he can show up and just gavel in the first meeting. It's ahead of what Ward Manuel did.
Yeah. It wouldn't take much, would it, Brad?
No, not at all. I mean, some of those.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say goodbye, Ward Manuel.
I think we know where that vote went.
Oh, man, I hope so. But some of those were tough to watch, those interviews with Ward Manuel. Going over to the SEC, we just had the combine for the NFL Combine. It sounds like Jackson Dart is making a lot of people excited about what he could do at the next level. Sounds like he had a really good combine as well to what he did in the Senior Bowl. Obviously, Pro Day coming up. Where do you see Jackson Dart, after watching him at Ole Miss? What do you see him at the next level in the NFL?
Look, I love Dart. I mean, I know Brent saw him every week, and saw some amazing things. I just think he is. I think he can run when he needs to. He's an exciting quarterback that is accurate. He's worked with one of the best in Lane Kiffin. I think whoever gets him will be glad they did.
Yeah.
Brian, I know you wanted to ask Brent about FSU basketball.
Yeah. Now, I saw some names for the FSU basketball opening that I wanted to throw at you, Brent. Let me find this list right. Okay, here, Jeff Goodman tweeted this out. Here are a few names in the mix for Florida State job, sources told Field of 68. Celtics assistant Sam Castle, Kings assistant Luke Locks, Arkansas State head coach Brian Hodgson, Samford head coach Bucky McMillan, Duke assistant Chris Carrawell, and then one that I thought was interesting because I did not see him as a name being on the list, UAB head coach Andy Kennedy.
Yeah, and Michael Alford, the AD, had a friendship with Hodgson at Bama.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Who really has done a pretty good job.
Real good.
Of the ones you've named, the ones that the one that leaps in at me is Bucky Ball. It's Samford. Anybody who has watched him, that team is. People throw the phrase around "well coached" a lot. His team is well coached.
Yeah.
I mean, they know how to play defense. They will look. They defend you getting off the bus, and that they're just a well-oiled machine. Frankly, I think they could do a lot worse than him. I look, and I'm not saying the NBA guys, couldn't do the same thing, but that just really is not very exciting. So, I mean, to me, Bucky and Brian would be the two. Frankly, to look at there, I believe. But guys, let's be honest too. Florida State really needs to make more of a commitment to basketball. Also, the league's not helping them now. The league just is as down as we've ever seen it right now. So what that tells you is, if they brought the right guy in, and they got things going the way the league's down, they may be able to make a leap with the right coach. Probably maybe quicker and have success quicker than they thought they could.
It's everybody on that list except for Bobby Sura.
Yeah, that's right.
Really is.
Remember him?
Yeah, I remember him well.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, he was an absolute legend.
He was kind of the FSU Rex Chapman, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's about right.
That's good.
That's some title, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
So
quite a unique
Brent,
one.
we're gonna have the bracket in our hand week after next. When you do your NCAA tournament bracket, how many teams right now do you really think from the SEC can be in the Final Four? Not win a game, not get a bid, not go to Dayton, can get to San Antonio?
Auburn in Florida.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Alabama could, but they are not willing to do the little things that they need to do, and they're running out of time to do it. This Florida team is really good. I really think Florida will win in Tuscaloosa tomorrow night, because if you can win at Auburn, I think you basically win anywhere. I mean, those bigs are really great, and they're getting healthy. The guards with Clayton, they can be tremendous. Now they had when they played Georgia, Mike White had one of those blind squirrel finds an acorn games to where they actually hung on and won. But beyond that, I'm not saying Florida's flawless, but I think they're playing as good a basketball right now as anybody is in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Duke, it feels like they're another team that could be in the Final Four, maybe even in the national championship game with the way they've played. What have you seen from this team? Because I remember preseason talking to some people about this team and how far they could go. It was always, well, they're going to be too reliant on freshmen. You look at those freshmen that they have 3 in the starting lineup, 1 that comes off the bench, but it feels like they've been able to mesh this team together very well with the freshmen, the young guys, and guys they've brought in through the transfer portal, veteran guys. How do you see this Duke team as we get into March?
Well, they've got 2 or 3 things going for them. They play really good defense. They're in a league right now that's just not very good. But that still doesn't take away from how good they are. They've got maybe the best player in the nation, obviously, besides Broom at Auburn. They are clicking on all cylinders and just really playing extremely well. I think they're in the Final Four and maybe even in the championship game at this point. So, but guys, we've had a little bit of discussion here, and I know it's not in the SEC or ACC, but I'll just say real quick, kudos to Rick Pitino for being able to win wherever he goes.
Yeah.
My Stars be the first coach to lead 6 teams to the NCAA tournament. That's just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
It is. He brings a lot with it, but he delivers winning.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Look, we all know about the baggage and what goes along with that.
It's an O'Hare carousel spinning around.
Yes. But if you can look at it with X's and O's and motivating players, there's no problem with that with Pitino.
Being a revolutionary, what he did with the 3-point line at Providence and on the way up. Last night was Cooper Flagg's final game. If he turns pro, we think he will. There's some out there that think they can, that the Duke Brotherhood can get him to stay. 16 games at Cameron Indoor. If last night was it, that's it.
That's not many, is it? I mean, it. You appreciate the effort and what he's been able to do, but a lot of these guys don't live up to the hype, but he certainly has.
He sure has.
But you didn't get to see him long if you were going to Cameron.
No, maybe with the NIL. I mean, good grief, they'll be. But look, that if you're the number 1 pick and you're getting number 1 money, I get that, and you've got to go
get the clock rolling.
But if there's any doubt, and he really likes it, he wants to come back. It'd be great to see him come back.
The thing about Duke, Brett, the brotherhood never ends. I mean, it might be only 16 games. That brotherhood's forever.
Yeah.
It is the brotherhood. It means something.
16 games at home.
It's the brotherhood.
I guess if he cuts the nets down, that'll be worth it.
That'll certainly add a lot. Brent, speaking of Duke.
Do they retire his number?
Well, there's a lot of – you get into retiring numbers at Duke. It can get awfully tricky, especially with one and dones. A lot of guys out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. Brent, I'm curious, speaking of Duke and speaking of the brotherhood, we were talking with a guest yesterday, and we were talking about – it sounds like Jay Lucas, the Duke assistant, is going to be the head coach at Miami. It sounds like they're going to name him as early as next week once conference tournament starts. But now you're hearing that Jay Lucas is actively trying to go out and get the Columbus High School head coach onto his staff, the current coach of the Boozer twins that are currently committed to Duke, where he was their primary recruiter. This could get messy between Jay Lucas and Duke.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of raised eyebrows, right?
Yes. That could get you kicked out of the brotherhood, couldn't it?
Sure could.
Yeah, you really could. Well, I was going to say, would the NCAA take a dim view of that? But I'm not real sure right now that they could reinforce or enforce anything anyway. Could they?
No. Hard to have recruitment.
Only the big stuff. Cream cheese on a bagel.
That's right.
For the NCAA. Only the big stuff.
But I'm just telling you now, if we're sitting in courtside at an NCAA basketball game, if we don't have that soft drink in front of us that says,
that's what really matters.
We get some real trouble for that.
Yeah, that cup really matters.
It really does, don't it?
And calling them student athletes,
Exactly.
all the big stuff.
All student athletes.
Yeah. Oh, listen. Let me tell you something. I remember when we've been in rotation. We got to get back in it here, but we've had a first 2 rounds here about over 5 years, and it was a great thing. I mean, I loved it, enjoyed going, and really hoping we can get it back. But I'm telling you, Lord, I made the mistake of having a Powerade or whatever that was sitting in front of me, and you'd think I just stole one of them's car.
Straight to Leavenworth for you.
It really, I mean,
You're lucky you got out.
Well,
yeah. I mean, yeah. So anyway, I'm sure anybody who's covered the tournament has faced that at one time or another.
that is hilarious. Brent, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Good guys. Always enjoy it. Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you, Brent.
Brent Beard joining us every week from First Coast News. Talk college football and college basketball. A lot to get into today with everything going on, football off season, and then on the hardwood with basketball. And hard to believe, next week conference tournaments start for the ACC and the SEC.
It is, and tournaments are all starting to pick up. Even more action.
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah, and we get into day games soon.
That's right. Yeah, 3 conferences starting tonight, Sun Belt Horizon and Patriot League. And then, from there, the ball really gets rolling, and it's conference tourney time. So it will be a lot of fun. A-Sun last night, their quarterfinals, that was a lot of fun to watch. I was locked in on all 4 of those games. So, yeah, it's here. It's different.
2 different sites for A-Sun?
Last night was 4 different sites. They're doing campus games for everything. I think the entire tournament's campus games. So they were all over the place last night,
including their finals.
I believe, including the championship game. The higher seed hosts the championship game. So I know North Alabama. All the talk last night was with that win over Austin Peay last night that they'll get at least one more home game. And I'm pretty sure they said if Lipscomb's the number 1 seed, if Lipscomb got upset in the semifinals, that North Alabama would host the championship game. So I didn't mind it. It was fun last night with the campus games for the conference tournament. Well, let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we come back, we got to talk the SEC. Busy final week of the regular season for the SEC. We'll talk about the games. We'll also talk about what the conference tournament will look like or could look like for next week. We'll do that next on Sportstime.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
It's putt-putt time. The weather's getting right for a little time outside. Putt-Putt Golf and Games Driving Range is a good place to be. At Putt-Putt Driving Range, $10 get you a small bucket of balls, use of the chin and putting greens, and Tom Tracer. There are even senior rates available. Putt-Putt Golf and Games Driving Range, 5484 Summer Avenue. Putt-Putt Driving Range, 901-386-2992. Putt-Putt Driving Range. It's putt-putt time.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Open Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. Classes start March 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
Sometimes you just need to make it fast, like the fun that comes from a quick and nimble 2024 Honda CB500F. It's amazing style streetlights with a narrow 471cc twin, along with a slim TFT display, dual disc brakes, and standard ABS, all at a full price. Find fun in all wearing places. 2024 Honda CB500F, available at DeSoto Honda, 5656 William Road, Olive Branch.
Attention homeowners, it's time to score big with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, plumbing, and generators. For the first 50 callers who purchase a new carrier system, generator, or tankless water heater, choose between 60 months of no-interest financing or free air duct cleaning, a $500 value. Plus, don't miss our $39 February deals. Choose from a furnace tune-up, a sewer inspection, or an electrical panel inspection. It's the perfect way to prepare your home for the season. But hurry, this winning deal ends February 28th. Don't fumble this opportunity to claim these amazing offers. Call Choates today at 347-8086. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Afternoon, this rain continues to move through our area right in the heart of rush hour traffic as it builds now out of Midtown on 240 southbound at South Parkway all the way down to Norris. It's got a little bit heavier on 240 on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Again, extra travel time is needed out here. Wrecks are starting to pop up. Hey, if your lawn needs some help, call Lawn Solutions right now. Over 30 years experience, Lawn Solutions 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. We got to talk the SEC. We know Tuesdays and Wednesday nights, they're big for the SEC, and some really fun matchups tonight in the Southeastern Conference. Get started here in 30 minutes. A 5 o'clock game, Georgia on the road against South Carolina. A game Georgia really needs. We talked about it with bracketology. Both Jerry Palm and Joe Lunardi have Georgia currently in the field, and certainly a win on the road at South Carolina will keep them where they're at. A loss would certainly hurt the South Carolina team. Now 2 wins over the last couple of weeks at home, now hosting Georgia at home. I think tough game for Georgia tonight.
Triple header on the SEC network, 5, 7, and 9.
Love it.
Central tip times, no prayer of 7 and 9 going off on time.
No chance at all. And, you know, even with, you can tell me all you want, well, the SEC wants to have a triple header, it's the end of the season, and you know, try to get everybody up for basketball. Why in the world is Vanderbilt tipping off at 9 o'clock at night? That is insane.
Central time.
That is insane. I mean, I saw that. And, I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, seeing some of these tip times where it's, 10 o'clock on the West Coast for like a Virginia Cal game. And I'm going, oh, man, that's crazy. But seeing 9 o'clock Central Time, Arkansas and Vanderbilt, I had to look at it 2 or 3 times to make sure it was real and that like my computer wasn't acting up.
Yeah, I thought the same thing about 5 and about 9.
Yeah, and 5 kind of did the same thing too, yeah.
And then figured it out. And for Arkansas, especially from the people that want to tell you about how much they care, the NCAA, how much they care about the student athlete, that game's not going to tip minimum before 9:20.
Yeah.
It's going to be a slog, about a 220, 225 game. So do the math. Game over at 11:45, 11:50.
Sure.
20 minutes of cool off post game availability.
Yep.
Shower, something quickly to eat, to the bus, to the airport, to the charter. Back in Fayetteville at what time? 3:30, 4?
I say 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Have fun at the 8:30 class tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're front row.
If we're still going with the pretense that we care about this.
Exactly. Well, the student athletes, Brett. The student comes first.
Yeah.
That's what we're supposed to believe. But no, I mean, that's insane. I mean, I understand the 8 o'clock games. 8 o'clock games, fine. You got TV window, have it on there, ESPN, SEC Network, fine. 9 o'clock, that is insane.
And you're Arkansas. You don't stay overnight. You go ahead and and bite the bullet and do the middle of the night travel and get back because you got to get ready to play at home Saturday against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Arkansas needs both of these games.
Yeah, no, it's go time for Arkansas, and it's tough. You look around, and it's tough at a lot of places in the SEC, but certainly for Arkansas, especially after what they showed on Saturday. I mean, did a lot for themselves against Texas midweek last week. Could have been in a good spot with a win on the road at South Carolina, but instead they go out there and shoot 12% from the field in the first half. For how they did it is the most important part. And so now, I mean, you go on the road and a good Vanderbilt team that feels like, especially at home, impossible to beat, and then a Mississippi State team that really needs to win some games down the stretch because they've kind of struggled as of late. So, yeah, that's two really, really tough games for Arkansas to end the regular season.
Brian, we talked about Georgia at South Carolina earlier and see if South Carolina can really ding two teams in a row coming through Columbia. Georgia almost must win for them, and then Saturday at home against Vanderbilt. They win that, they feel real comfortable. Win one in Nashville, they're in and off the bubble that they've kind of been on all year long. But tonight, can Texas?
Yeah.
Can they get back off the bubble?
Yeah, and that's another one.
And win in Starkville.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big game for both those teams. Obviously, Texas trying to stay alive,
State's in, though.
Yeah, State's in, but they've well, let's be honest, Brett, they haven't been playing well as of late.
5 seed, according to Jerry Palm.
That blew my mind.
Me too.
Blew my mind when I saw that. But, they have not been playing, I think, the way they want to be playing down the stretch as of late. And so I think, if they can go out there at home and dominate against a Texas team, really show kind of what we saw here in December, where defensively, Mississippi State looked like they could play against anybody in the country. And so if they can get back to that, have a really strong defensive game, the line is 7.5, they can go out there and cover that at home. I think you feel really good going into your last game, getting into the conference tournament. And obviously for Texas, a win on the road against Mississippi State would do wonders for them in the bubble.
It's been defense with State, giving up 111 to Bama, 93 to just a very average Oklahoma team, and just collapse on defense.
It just can't happen. And like I said, I mean, we saw probably the best of their defense here in December. I mean, it looked like they were clicking on all cylinders, and so you'd like to see them get back to that. I really like what Chris Jans has done down there. I think I trust him with this team, and so we'll see. But right now, you look up and Mississippi State, the team here's put it all to kind of put it all together. A 5 seed on Jerry Palm's bracket. Right now, if the conference tournament was to start today, Mississippi State would be opening the tournament on Wednesday as the 9 seed going up against South Carolina. So the team that's right now projected to be a 5th seed in the NCAA tournament is going to be the 9 seed and starting the day on Wednesday. That's insane.
The win over Memphis may have been the best State's played all year.
Yeah, it really could be. Yeah, I mean, they were absolutely locked in on. I mean, it felt like at times that Memphis couldn't even get into what they wanted to do offensively before Mississippi State caused something to happen. And then that was the game where Penny Hardaway is walking down the bench telling all the guys, they think you're soft. They think you're soft. And so, yeah, they played really well that game. And, now two of their last 3 have been losses. So they definitely want to get back and get a win tonight over Texas.
If Kentucky, if they win, they will win tonight, heavily favored over LSU, and they win Saturday at Mizzou. That will be game. That will be a good game. Very difficult. First game of the day, Saturday.
Yeah.
Then Kentucky could move past Ole Miss in standings. Right now, the head-to-head's really holding up well for Ole Miss. Ole Miss got Tennessee tomorrow night and on the road at Florida Saturday.
Yeah, at least we won't have to get to a coin flip on the men's side of the SEC. Maybe down bracket you get some of these tiebreakers, but at least we won't break who's number 1 on a coin toss. But
if Brent was right in just 2 in the Final Four, most leagues, including the SEC, usually will sign up for that on opening night. But if it's just 2 after all this, that'd be a little disappointing, won't it? At the Final Four.
I think you get 2. I think that's pretty successful.
You can't be disappointed.
I mean, that's 50% of the Final Four. I mean, only 4 make it. I think that's a very successful.
Okay, you're right. You're absolutely right. How many in the 8th then?
I think
before we see a bracket, that's hard.
Yeah, I think in the Elite Eight, I mean, I think it's kind of the same, 50%. I mean, if you get 4 teams in the Elite Eight, I think that's very successful.
Stay with 50% for the 16. Same math.
Let me see matchups. I think maybe a little more in maybe 1 or 2 more, but nothing crazy. But I mean, if you're gonna get 12 or 13 teams in, and you're, at least right now, your number 9 seed in the conference tournament is supposed to be a 5 seed, then yeah, I want to see a lot of teams in the Sweet 16.
A&M tonight at home hosting number 1 Auburn. Auburn may be an eye on the big matchup, the Iron Bowl on the hardwood on Saturday, down on the plains. I don't think it hurts Auburn near as much as it can help A&M with the win.
Yeah, it could be huge for Texas A&M. This is a Texas A&M team that's lost 4 straight games. I mean, they are really struggling, and it's been on the offensive end. I mean, defensively, they're great. Rebounding, doing the dirty work, they're fantastic. But it's offensively, and I brought it up yesterday with David Cobb. Wade Taylor IV has got to be better. He has really struggled shooting the ball, and that's their go-to guy, and he has been. And so I'd like to see more from him. That will be fun on ESPN tonight. Certainly, Texas A&M being at home will help them. I think if they can make it difficult for Auburn early with what they can do on the defensive end of the court, it could get interesting. But I mean, Auburn only a 4.5 point favorite on the road against Texas A&M. I mean, I might have to take Auburn in that one.
Joe Lunardi has Auburn as the 1 overall, with Iowa State as the 2 in that bracket. I think that would be easy to the Final Four for Auburn.
Yeah, I mean,
3 Kentucky.
We talked about it yesterday. It just feels like, the UConn last year of just get out of the way and we'll see you in the national championship. It's kind of feeling like that's what we're seeing from Auburn this year. Of just
I don't know have them all the way to winning it, but I'm definitely going to have them in the 4. Not even think twice.
I mean, that's anytime you can say that is crazy. And I know it's there are people out there that go, well, of course they're the number 1 seed. Of course you're going to have them in the Final Four. But it is a lot tougher than that. And so I mean, just looking at what Joe Lunardi has, I mean, you mentioned it. Iowa State the 2. Kentucky the 3, Purdue the 4, Clemson the 5. I mean, that seems like Auburn can handle all of those teams and make it look pretty easy. So, I mean, that could set up really well for them. Houston back in number 1 seed. I know we've talked a lot about, where's Houston in terms of 1 or 2 last night. Their win against a Kansas team that looks it looks like they're ready to give up on the entire season. Good win for Houston last night. And I think that's going to be the team to watch. Who is that matchup in the first round is Kansas. I'm trying to see where Joe Lunardi has Kansas.
7 in playing VCU.
Oh, man, that's a tough matchup.
Yeah, real tough.
That's a tough matchup in the 7-10. I mean, Kansas fans not going to be happy if it's the way this season has ended and it's a first-round exit for them.
All right, Final 4, true or false. You ready?
Okay, let's do it.
Landon, you ready?
Landon's ready.
He is ready.
A big gulp of water.
Caught him mid-swallow.
You see that big
slug
jug
of
he
water.
carries around? I mean, it's crazy.
Clemson, ever been to a Final Four?
Yes.
Landon?
I agree with Bryant.
You're both incorrect.
What?
Never been. Clemson's never made it.
Wow. That's kind of
Nebraska, Final Four ever, all time for Nebraska.
Yes.
Landon?
That one's got to be yes.
It's a no.
Oh, my gosh. I'm struggling today. What can I say? I'm usually pretty good at this.
I should have done what we normally do. I just go the opposite of you.
One of us would have been right.
One more. BYU, all time in a Final Four.
No.
Well, opposite. I'll go yes.
Bryant's correct. Landon's incorrect. No.
Yes. I had to grab one out there. BYU's
way up there in most games played without ever getting to a Final Four.
Oh, wow. Don't let BYU get hot this year. I think they're a year away, but they are.
Remember, I had them preseason in the Final Four.
You did, and they have last
Gotten
I think
hot.
6-game win streak right now. They're really starting to turn things on, and they could be a really tough team to see in the NCAA tournament. Right now, an 8 seed by Joe Lunardi facing off against New Mexico in the first round. If they won that game, they'd see Tennessee. That could be a good matchup, Tennessee and BYU in the second round. But let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest patch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I gotta fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're going to be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes, I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PHIL25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PHIL25 for 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PHIL25 for 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code PHIL25.
The first ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure. First time ever. Unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say, they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Route 540. Family and fun come together. At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises. Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Metis today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now 96.3. Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Whitman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, your shoes the whole time you're there. Can't put a price on that kind of luxury. And you have switch to Progressive for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, I think we should switch it up and have you go first today.
I will. 26, my big number. That's the number of NCAA tournament appearances for Tennessee basketball all time. 10 Sweet 16 appearances, 2 Elite Eights, 0 Final Fours.
Yeah.
And I hit the Google machine during the break. BYU, they have the most NCAA tournament appearances without ever making a Final Four, 31. Xavier second, 29. Mizzou third, 28. And Tennessee fourth at 26.
Is that right?
Creighton 25,
Holy
fifth.
cow.
Utah State. Bama was always on that list until last year.
Yeah, no, that's right. Wow. So, maybe something gives this year. I don't know, but
I have no trouble getting Tennessee out to the 8.
Right, but
just
after
sight
that,
unseen.
Sure.
But I don't know about all the way.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We'll have to see. Maybe there's a path for them. Maybe it lines up well. But definitely would be history if they could do it. My big number today, not far off from your big number. My big number is the number 20. Last night, college basketball, we know Monday nights, it is nothing, it's not, they call it Big Monday, but it's not really a big slate. It's a lot of mid-major, low-major games, and then we'll have the usually 2 big-time games on ESPN. Well, last night, the second game of the night on ESPN was Kansas and Houston, and my 20 is the number of turnovers Kansas finished with last night on the road at Houston. 20 turnovers in that game. Only the second time this season that Kansas has turned the ball over 20 times in a game. The other time they turned it over 20 times in a game, they also lost. It was earlier this season in a non-conference rivalry game against Missouri. That was a 10-point loss, and really kind of the first time, maybe second time, one of the first times at least, that you thought, okay, Missouri might have something this year after the way they ended things last season in conference play. Huge win for them, and now you look up, and Kansas really struggling. 4 of their last 6 games have been losses. I said it in the segment before. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of matchup they get, because it feels like they are right there on the edge of just completely falling off.
And they've spent the money with NIL. It's an expensive roster. They went out and got a lot of players that everybody else wanted, and 2 years in a row, not much. Just kind of struggling to get to the end.
No, they absolutely are. And, I mean, obviously Hunter Dickinson is the big name that they've had, brought him in from Michigan, paid a lot of money to get him, and was supposed to be the guy to get things done, and he's really struggled. The big offseason addition this year was A.J. Storr, who was really good last year at Wisconsin, has come in, hasn't been able to do anything. And so, yeah, I mean, this conference, I know we talk so much about the SEC, Big Ten's been a really good conference this year, but the Big 12 continues to be a super solid conference. And, they get in this gauntlet playing a lot of teams that are tourney teams, and they're really showing that, they're just not the type of team that we think of when we think of Kansas teams.
The Big 12 basketball tournament, Kansas always dominates that.
Yeah.
They dominate crowd, advancing. It's in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
They go out early. Tickets available.
Oh,
you
yeah.
could sit where you wanted to at the Big 12.
Yeah.
A little bit like if Kentucky goes out early.
Sure. And so, that's going to be, and I don't know where, because I could see an early exit for Kansas in the conference tournament. I mean, that would not surprise me.
I kind of expect one.
With the way they've been playing recently, I don't know how you could expect anything different. And so, I don't know what, you hear all the rumors about, is there changes coming? Is Bill Self happy? Does he really want to keep coaching? And so, I don't know. And he looked absolutely defeated last night after that game. So, I don't know. It feels like it's going to be a big a big postseason for Kansas. Right now, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kansas is 6th currently in the Big 12. That would have them playing... It would give them a bye, and they would play the winner of the 14 and 11. 2, 3, 4.
But everybody goes to this tournament.
Exactly. That'd be a match. Ooh.
Oh wow!
UCF
that bracket.
and
I just
Kansas
got
State.
there.
No, it's a crazy bracket. They would play the winner of Kansas State and UCF if things ended right now. Kansas State, Kansas in the conference tournament. That could be a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
a good
see.
one tonight, and remember how the last time ended. Arizona and Arizona State tonight in the Big 12.
Yeah, well, that's really when you go, okay,
Weird,
something's wrong here. But no, that will be a fun game, and it's never friendly in rivalry games. Certainly not friendly when those two teams meet on the hardwood. So no, that should be fun. Arizona State has been an absolute disaster this year. I mean, 4-14 in conference, 3 games under 500. This was, it felt like maybe not do much, but can maybe do something this year, and they just really haven't come close to doing it.
Arizona State and Texas A&M have tried it all in basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, they've hired some really competent, great coaches that should work, and it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. No, it has. I'm still waiting for the docuseries for Arizona State basketball that Bobby Hurley was screaming about all offseason and all the NIL money that it's going to bring to the players. And I don't know if this year is the year you want the docuseries filming, but that was a big thing supposedly
Ole Miss
for
once had a
Gene
coach
Clayton's.
leave Ole Miss to go to Arizona State, Rob Evans.
That's right.
I thought it would work, didn't.
Yeah, but
many thought he was leaving, and some reported he was leaving for A&M, and I tried to tell him, no, it's not accurate.
Yeah, so they have been really, really bad this year, and I don't see it getting much better. And I think Arizona could dominate tonight in that game. But will be a fun matchup. A lot of fun matchups tonight. I mean, we got
17.5 Arizona
Is
favorite.
that the number? Holy
That's a big
cow,
number.
that is huge. I did not think it was going to be that big.
Money line. If you feeling frisky on Arizona State, you ready?
Please.
Plus 1,300.
Okay. I laugh now, but that feels like one where I go, you got to be out of your mind if you're going to play Arizona
Cam
State
Scadabo's
money
not even
line.
betting that.
No. But it feels like we say all of that, and then tonight something crazy happens, and Arizona State
Plus
goes out and wins.
1,300.
Yeah, I'll stay away from that. I'll stay far away from it. Let's go ahead and get to another break. Wrap up this hour. When we come back, we're switching gears. We got to talk NFL. Bo Marchant, he was at the Combine last week. We'll talk about what he saw. We'll also talk about all the offseason moves that are going down. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelet, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf are one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktie-moving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church in Memphis.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We're still dealing with some wet driving conditions out here. It has gotten a little bit heavier on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out to Germantown Parkway. Just that time of the afternoon for that to happen. It's also busy on 240 on to 385 Billmores Parkway. That's cranking up pretty good, actually headed out towards Collierville. Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Club Safety. Once again, Brett Northwood and Brian Davis.
You say you stand by your man. Tell me something.
Well, there's a lot of news going around in the NFL offseason stuff, franchise tags, scouting, combine, everything. So we got to talk NFL, and we do it every single Tuesday with Bo Marchant.
National Football League talk every Tuesday with Bo Marchant, covering the NFL Draft at collegetopro.com and the NFL Draft Bible, covering the Steelers for Sports Illustrated, living and running in Eastern Ohio, and on Twitter X at Bo Marchant. Here's Bo with Bryant and Brett.
Bo Marchant joins us to talk the NFL. Bo was in Indianapolis last week for the scouting combine. What'd you see, Bo? Who impressed you last week?
Well, I mean, you guys know I'm high on Jackson Dart. He was one of the top QBs, and we know Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders didn't throw. I thought Jackson Dart took advantage of that opportunity. I thought he did himself some good. So we'll kind of start off the riff with him, and then I think a couple other guys. He's a guy that I like down at the Shrine game, Joshua Gray, lineman. Not an exciting guy to talk about when you're talking about an interior lineman, but nonetheless, I thought he had a fantastic week down in Frisco, and then he translated. I think he ran the fourth fastest 40 of the linemen, and he was in the top 8 among all the other guys in the vertical and the broad jump. And his field work was good too. So those are a couple guys that just stand. But Dylan Sampson. His stock went up. I mean, if you kind of look through everything, prior to the draft. The Ohio State backs and a lot of others were ahead of him, but he's kind of crept up the list. And this is the fun part about going to the combine and talking to these guys. You get a sense of who they are and their background. And when you talk to them, he said Josh Heupel pulled him aside when he was a sophomore and put him in a leader group. And he said he was sitting there giving the team pep talks before games. And then he goes, it was weird because I'd give the seniors a pep talk. He goes, and then the game was starting, I'd be on the bench. So those are the little things that kind of, and when you see, and this is, the medical and the interviews with these young men, and I kind of look at what they do on the field is their resume. And it's kind of like getting your college degree and you go off to a job, but now you got to sit in front of your employer and see how it works and how it meshes. And granted, they want top talent. Every team wants top talent, but there still has to be a camaraderie, a chemistry, if you will, a culture of men that you want in that locker room to help you build what you want to build.
Bo, everybody, especially after the season and the Super Bowl and playoffs that he had and the contract that he signed today, everybody looking for the next Saquon Barkley. Is there one out there in this draft?
Well, Genty gets all the love. He's what's the word I'm looking for? He's considered a top 10, top 5 talent. Yeah, so he's right up there. But it's a lot to see. I think the Lions got the next one in Jamar Gibbs. So he'll be a matter of time before he's collected that money. But no, I think Genty, and then you got Omari and Hampton, North Carolina back, very very good back. You got a lot of good. This is a good deep running back class, and that's what we're going to come to realize. And it's going to be bizarre to see if there's a little bit of a push for these guys to kind of go a little higher than we're used to. But again, the depth of it, and then you think about free agency with Najee Harris, Aaron Jones. I'm trying to think off the top of my head some of the other bigger name running backs out there who will be available. Vice versa, you got all these young guys with little tread. You think about the work that Najee Harris had. You think of the age of Aaron Jones from Minnesota as he hits free agency. So it's a rough time, nonetheless, for running backs. But if you're elite with any position, you're going to get paid.
What are the chances of the Pittsburgh Steelers, team you cover and know so well, with that 21 slot, drafting Jackson Dart and just having him there behind Russell Wilson as long as it's going well? It's Russell Wilson's team. It's the first real stumble. It's time to put him in and get him ready for the future.
Yeah, if that is the case, and we know unless you have a superstar or quarterback under center, they're going to clamor. And the same thing happened when, we know, Mitchell Trubisky wasn't the ideal guy that was going to lead, but nonetheless, the Steeler fan base wanted that rookie. They wanted him to start. And I think the same would be for Russell or Fields or whoever they bring in. If that would be the case, I just think barring an 8-0 start, and they look like they're, the dominant team in the AFC, and they're going to be, really going deep into the playoffs. Yeah, but I think, you're going to get a typical Steeler team, plays well in tight games, keeps the game close, maybe not a lot of offense, and the fan base will definitely clamor. I've been in a stadium now for the past few years where, they chant, they want their OC out, they cheer when the quarterbacks get benched. So, you would think this is a team in disarray that hasn't had a winning season. But again, we've talked about it so many times. They want Super Bowls, not wins. But nonetheless, Dart, he's improved the stock, and I'm happy to see that. Makes me look a little smarter than what I'm giving credit for. But nonetheless, yeah, it was a good Dart. Like I said, a good week, though. The Combine's such a great week. Trying to think, C.J. Dippery from Alabama. Talking to him, grew up in PA. He called it the Iron Church, him and his dad working out. And then I think he ran the 4th fastest time at the tight end position. So, you think of an in-line guy for most of his career and a guy that kind of excels, and then to think that he runs that type of 40. So that's definitely a boost in terms of, what he could possibly do vertical in the seam and as a passing threat. So,
yeah. How much were you able to see the former Memphis Tigers, Seth Hennigan and Rock Taylor?
I'm not going to lie. I did not see them, so I apologize.
No, don't apologize.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I did. It is not. I just didn't see them.
Yeah.
But it's not, I know. I know what they did, and nonetheless, but actual saw them and talked to them and whatnot. I wasn't able to do that. When the guys come out to the podiums, there's usually it was about 6 guys at a time, 7 guys at a time. And, and if you want a really big name guy, you got to be very close to the front or you're going to be, I'm not lying to I think when Travis Hunter came out, I mean, you're talking almost 20 deep of people. So, and I'm one of the shortest people out there. So I definitely have to have a front row seat or I have no shot.
Who will be the number 1 overall?
Brett, what's the 4th of March? And I don't know. I think right now, I would say Cam Ward. I just think the Titans have to take a quarterback unless a team moves up to take a quarterback. Put it this way: they're going to take a quarterback or they're going to trade out of the pick. That's my philosophy. And I'm not telling you anything that you probably haven't heard, but Shedeur Sanders not throwing. It just seems like he leaves Indianapolis with the stock going down, and I think it almost puts what was a 2-man race between Cam and Shedeur now is kind of just a 1-man race for that top QB position, unless some, very big change. And we know he's going to throw well at his pro day. All quarterbacks throw well at the pro day. I don't remember the last time there was a pro day for a top-flight quarterback where they said it was horrific. But nonetheless, I think Cam has kind of put him there. And I don't think it's what are the words? I don't think it's that much a discrepancy in terms of talent. I just think Sanders, maybe the personality, maybe thinking of, what could go on, with his dad, Dion, if things don't go right. If you're the head coach, are you going to have to hear about maybe Dion's going to come coach the team? Is Dion going to be the guy who, if Shedeur Sanders is not playing well, is he going to be the guy who says, hey, you know what, my son would have done better? I don't know, but I think that's in the back of the minds that you're dealing with a lot of, they're not going to hold back from what they feel, especially Dion. Dion's going to, he's going to say what his mind thinks, and he's going to go after no matter who it is. If he sees it differently, he's probably going to comment. And this is my assumption and kind of some of the things I ran through or heard down there that, that could be just a slight, damper in the value of what Sanders brings, despite
Can
his
Jackson Dart move into being the first quarterback taken?
I don't think so. He could have a J.J. McCarthy type rise, like last year, but I don't know if he's going to supersede Ward. People really love Cam Ward, and listen, there's nothing not to love about him. I just like Dart. So I mean, and this whole quarterback class, I don't think we're enamored with the idea that we're getting the next Elmay Marino out of this class. I don't think that's the case, But it's a deep draft in a lot of positions. I mean, you look at your D line, deep running backs, deep safeties are great. So it's a deep draft. I think the quarterbacks always drive a draft and the hype of a draft. So when we're talking about, we don't even know if a quarterback's going to go 1, and we really don't know which quarterback is going to be the first one off the board. It kind of hampers the excitement of it all because quarterbacks they're the market drivers. So. You got a couple quarterbacks, possibly 3, if Dart joins the club. And then, you got 3 quarterbacks going in. You might even have 3 running backs going in the first round. So, you figure Hampton, Amarion Hampton, Ashton Genty for sure from Boise State. So that's 2. And then, you're going to get 2, 3 receivers, deep tight end class.
Travion Henderson
from Michigan. I mean, Tyler Moore from Michigan and Colson. Love them. I mean, listen, the Michigan tight end is, he's fantastic. You're in a draft with Tyler Warren. You got the Miami kid, Araru. So it's a deep, fun class. So like I said, it doesn't have the quarterback hype, but when you look through it, it's and that's the thing about Abdul Carter is when you look at the talent on the DN side, not necessarily. I mean, if you pass on Carter, if you're one of the top teams, you might not get an elite prospect back, but you can go pretty deep. Late in the first round, early second, and get a quality DN guy. So, those are. I know he's an edge guy, but just the edge and the DN guys it's a deep class.
Mm-hmm. Talking to Beau Marchant, he joins us every single week to talk the NFL. Today, the Jets released Davante Adams. What do you make of that news, and where do you think a landing spot is for him?
Well, I think we got to go Kansas City right off the cuff.
Yeah.
They're still searching. I think that's a valid spot. Maybe Dallas. Dallas could use another guy opposite of CeeDee Lamb. I don't have the money to do that. I think the Steelers. I think that's a Steelers guy. an older guy, respected. I think that could fit in terms of money and bringing in a guy. We know they were hot on the idea of trying to get Ayuk last year, T. Higgins, etc. Those aren't going to come through. They didn't get Deebo Samuel. So I think Adams to Steelers, but it's just a matter. I think this is the first time Devontae Adams is going to have the opportunity to choose where he wants to go. Meaning, if teams are willing to accept him. But I think most teams, and we know he's not the guy he was, but he's better than probably, he's probably in the upper 10% of receivers in the league. I'd like to think, despite his age, and he'd be a great compliment to, a George Pickens, or you go any team. He's going to make the one there better because he's almost still a one himself. So you're really getting a top talent in Devontae Adams, and maybe Pittsburgh. Maybe Pittsburgh could be the team. We know they're looking for receiver help and a big name guy to kind of set the tone there, and he could definitely be that guy.
C.J. Stroud in Houston would love to have him.
C.J. Stroud. I bet there's a lot of quarterbacks that would love to have him. C.J. Stroud, you think of Tampa Bay, they're not going to get Godwin back to replace him. And I hope for his sake, and I know he liked playing with Rodgers, and at the point, the Jets weren't doing that well, but I'd like to see him go to a team that, a winning team. But sometimes, for me personally, we were talking about it over the weekend down in India. When you're that close, you kind of have all the money you need. Do you really want to, if a team that has talent and can win a Super Bowl, if they want to bring you in, I guess it's, if you already have all the money in the world within a reason, chase that ring and get that ring. Play for a top team. Yeah, you want to win. I hope you want to win. Put it that way. If you don't want to win, then you are just here for the money.
Yeah, you're right about that. The Vikings, they did not tag Sam Darnold. What does this look like now with him becoming a free agent?
I'm very curious because I admire Kevin O'Connell from Minnesota and Wes Phillips and what they're able to do with the quarterbacks. It was a resurrection of Sam Darnold's career when he got to the Vikings. And I'm curious to see how he's going to do outside that system, outside of not having arguably the best receiver in football, and Justin Jefferson, and an elite guy opposite him in terms of Jordan Addison. So I'm curious, and I'm not going to lie, I'm very hesitant to think that he can come close to duplicating what he did in Minnesota. I think it was just a perfect fit. And I put a buyer beware. He's going to get attention somewhere, and he's probably going to take a lot of abuse eventually because I don't think it's going to work out the same. Even in the last playoff game, once you have that, once you're labeled as maybe not being the guy that you were supposed to be coming out, it's hard to knock that label, if you will. And I think it's going to be hard him to, continue that success. I could be wrong, and I have no ill will towards Sam Darnold. I hope he finds somewhere and has the best career of his life. But I'm hesitant to think that can happen.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have that first 13, 14 games ever again like he had last year.
Yeah, and just playing so well and the way he played. I think that's what it is the team played well and you get wins, but he played well. And everybody has a hiccup here and there, but I thought he played extremely well. There was points in the season where, he had some dynamic football games. He did a lot of things very, very well, and he was the key component towards the Vikings winning. But
But it ran out of gas. It hit empty all at once.
It did. And I like the culture that they have in Minnesota. I like what they're doing. And even Daniel Jones, I think that he's going to sit behind McCarthy. I think they'll do the if McCarthy's unable to play or he has a setback, I think they'll be able to do the same things they did with Darnold. They'll be able to do with Daniel Jones. I really think that. I just think they, that quarterback whisperer, quarterback guru. There's some in the league that have it. Perfect. We knew Bo Nix going in was in a perfect system for Sean Payton, but nonetheless, you never know until they get under center. But I just say Bo Nix. Bo Nix is any other place. Does he have the season? Does he have? And I think there's just certain guys in the league that can really turn these guys into something special.
Kyle Shanahan, he can find a quarterback anywhere.
Yeah, he can find skill guys. He knows how to find skill guys, and he knows what to do once he finds them, and that's the genius of Kyle Shanahan. That we all, Debo got moved over the weekend for the 5 to Washington, and my thing was, who's he going to find to replace Debo? And the way he coaches and his keen eye for talent and what he wants his guys to do, and better yet, able to teach those and coach those guys to do what they need them to do. That's the genius of Kyle Shanahan. I'm excited to see the next Debo Samuel for the 49ers. I don't know who it'll be, and I don't know, maybe it's in the draft or they'll develop somebody on the roster, or but nonetheless, because the way that they use Debo Samuel, you cannot argue that he was an instrumental piece in doing a lot of different gadgetly things that the 49ers execute very well.
What was the best defensive player in Indianapolis?
Well, no, I think James Pierce. I mean, the numbers he put together, and he already had a high ceiling anyway. So, I think you gotta say him, and you just kind of add him to that deep edge rush crew. And I heard a lot of good things about Walter Nolan, and I thought he worked out well. But I think Pierce was the guy that really caught my eye in terms of his numbers. When I saw all the numbers he did and the way he looked during field work, I just was like, oh man, this kid's got it. Mm-hmm. Or I hope he has it. He looks. Hey, put it this way, he looked like he had it down in Indy.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to the Debo Samuels trade for a second, because I'd like to throw this out. You always see post drafts, these websites that write up the winners and losers for a draft. I'd like to throw in my loser to the Debo Samuels trade, and it's the Dallas Cowboys, Bo, because you see Washington, a division rival, go out and trade a fifth for Debo freaking Samuels, while the Cowboys last season went out and traded a fourth-round pick for Jonathan Mingo. What are we doing?
I think it was money-based. Yeah. I really do. And the Cowboys, listen, I think any team would have clamored to have Debo Samuel for a 5. It's just hey,
theft.
Kind of like me going down to the Lexus dealership and then offer me the highest line of and I'm like, well, I'd love to have one. I can't afford one. So thank you for the offer. That'll go off to the next highest bidder. I think that was the case, right? I really do. It's just a matter of a team finding the money and being able to accommodate that to the cap. And we know the Cowboys are a little bit. They're cap tied a little bit right now. Yeah. And their main thing is to get Parsons back under center. And I'm not sure if you read the same things, but they talked about Jerry Jones not doing his combine stuff, and they said maybe there might be something simmering where they do maybe move up, take Abdul Carter, and maybe move Parsons off to Tennessee. So who knows? That was some of the quietness going on. The rumors. I mean, there's so many things that go off and come out of Indianapolis. I wish I had something fun to tell you myself. Talked to a few people, but I have no big story or any groundbreaking thing to break here on Memphis 56.
Bo, how much are you going to miss Jimmy Johnson on NFL Sunday mornings?
No, I'm gonna. He was my favorite. I mean, he was my favorite one on the whole cast. I'm a big Jimmy Johnson guy. I love his personality. I love his success as a head coach. I love the energy he brought, and I like the way he carried himself on the broadcast as well. So, 31 years after a fantastic Hall of Fame career in football and probably another Hall of Fame career type in broadcasting, but he'll be missed. Those type of guys, and with Howie and all those guys, I just think the camaraderie that they had, sometimes it meshes and it goes right, and that's the magic. And I don't think you could be on TV or doing that for 31 years and then walking away on your own terms. Mm-hmm. I think they said he's 81. That's just, So hopefully he has a lot of time left to enjoy his fishing in the Florida Keys and enjoying that sunshine that we know he does, and keeping that hair perfect.
For me, I don't watch a lot of those shows until the college season's over. I don't kind of get in front of the Sunday morning shows until first weekend in December. And of those shows, that was my favorite, the Fox crew.
Yeah, Fox is my favorite crew, too. I just think they have a nice pulse to them, a nice personality. Like CBS, I like all the guys. Like CBS seems a little dull and drab to me. But Fox just seems to have a little faster pace, a little bit more jovial, fun. Bradshaw's laughing. These guys carry on a little bit more than the other broadcasts. And I'm like you, Brett. Most of the time I'm at the stadium. covering the games, but on the days that I'm home or whatnot, and I get to see the broadcast, I always enjoy those particular broadcasts or halftimes or whatnot. I mean, I'm always a halftime guy. I don't think I watch any pregame, halftime all the time, and then postgame shows. Like if I get home early enough from a Steelers game, which is rare, but when I do, the Fox has the late game. I love going to that, seeing the wrap up, and then heading off to the Sunday Night Football game.
Yep. I would imagine at Acrisure, where you spend a lot of time, a lot of NFL Sundays, they have the TV set up where all of them are up on. Like I know in Nashville at the Titan Stadium, you can see all the pregame shows on just a wall of TV.
Yeah, they have all the games. I mean, there's no sound on them, so I mean you could see them. But I think the one wall has 3 or 4 TVs, and then the other wall has, like you said, like 7 televisions on it, and then then the other wall has 3 or 4. So I mean, it's besides the windows, because they're windows and they don't have TVs on the windows. There's got to be at least 15 TVs in there, and as you know, like all the facility, like those cafeteria type rooms, they all have the televisions going, but they don't have the sound going. And then once you get inside, they get the games going on. It's funny. There's a guy, I don't really know what his, he's kind of like not security, but he always wants us out as fast as we can after the game. And there's the TV monitors above your press box seat, but he'll turn them off. That way you can't even look at what's going on during the late games. He just wants you to concentrate on getting your work done so he can get out of there.
That's great. That might be the best story I've heard all day. That is hilarious. Like a parent or something.
Yeah.
The TV
You're like,
off, get work.
Gotta go.
You'll see just say Washington Dallas kickoff, and then all of a sudden you just see it goes black. You're like, he'll tell you too. He'll walk in, he's like, come on, let's,
That's
in a
hilarious.
fun way. I mean, but he's not lying when he says he wants you out of there.
That's hilarious. That's good stuff. Well, Bo, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
Stay safe, gentlemen. Thank you always.
Thanks, Bo. Bo Marchant joining us to talk the NFL each and every week, and a lot going on, off-season news, and also the Combine last week, so plenty to talk about with Bo. Before we get to this break, let me remind you about Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender, available in multiple models to fit your needs. The Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com. But head out there and test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. We need to get to another break. When we return, we got to talk about what's trending. And what's trending is the status report for the Grizzlies for tomorrow night's game against OKC. It's been released. We'll talk about that next on Sports Time.
Service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our special specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 912-715-5199.
What you doing, Jack? First things, there are so many benefits. You got to talk fast. T-Mobile Home Internet ranks #1 customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by JD Power. Wow, you are good. Try singing it. T-Mobile has price lock. They won't raise your rate on internet. Hulu and Paramount Plus on get $55 a month.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342.
There's no place like home, Town Village.
Brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Finishing up several accidents we had out here a little bit earlier. 40 East, especially over here at Sycamore View Road. It's pretty busy now on 40 East as you continue out into Fayette County. All the major outbound routes have been pretty busy out here the last hour or so, having to deal with all this wet driving conditions. Please be careful throughout the rest of the evening. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Well, Grizzlies PR 27 minutes ago put out the status report and a medical update for Jaren Jackson Jr. Here's the medical update for Triple J. Jackson Jr. has been diagnosed with a grade 2 left ankle sprain, which he sustained in the first quarter of the Grizzlies game against the Atlanta Hawks on March 3rd. He is considered week to week, and further updates will be provided as appropriate. So he is on the status report as out, listed as questionable for tomorrow night's game. Santi Aldama with right calf soreness, John Conchar with right knee soreness, Scottie Pippen Jr. with left toe soreness, and John Morant out now. It was right shoulder soreness. Now it is right deltoid contusion, the injury for John Morant. But the big news, Jaren Jackson Jr. listed as week to week.
When's his first game back?
3-4 weeks. Do we even have 3 or 4 weeks left in the season?
So week to week.
I mean,
is that a week or is that 2 weeks?
We've seen what week to week means.
Sure.
I mean, it's more than 2 weeks. It's usually 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I mean, it is. And that's where we get into the kind of what, and it feels like we haven't talked about it in a while because it hadn't happened in a while, but early in the season when all these players are going out and they're being listed as week to week, and then they're out for a month and a half, and you're going, okay, well, what does week to week really mean? How do you differentiate week to week? And so, yeah, it scares me when I see Jaren Jackson out week to week.
It's the biggest fumble of this regime, of this front office, is how they do this with injury. And now, I'm not alleging skullduggery, but you certainly have to have this in mind to be the defensive player of the year. And if he is that, what it would do with his contract, they now can finesse that to keep him under 65 games and save a lot of money.
Yeah, and I think Vegas might see that coming right now. I just looked during the break once I saw that news at what the odds are for Defensive Player of the Year. Jaren Jackson Jr., who just a week ago was the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, now plus 800 to win Defensive Player of the Year. Evan Mobley has now moved to the favorite at minus 200. Dyson Daniels plus 350. I might give that a look because he has been fantastic defensively. I mean, leading the league, most steals.
They could win a little more if that matters.
That's the kind of thing. But he has been electric on the defensive end.
Grizzlies are going to make the playoffs, aren't they?
Grizzlies are going to make the playoffs, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What seed?
That's the scary thing, Brett, because, I mean, it felt like and I'm not being, like, facetious or anything about this. It felt like we went home one night, and they were the 2 seed, and we came back here the next day, and they were the 4 seed. It felt like it happened overnight. They dropped 2 spots.
And now we're talking about, are they going to be in the playoffs?
Well, yes. And so, I mean, you look, Rockets right behind them. Rockets play tonight. Golden State is 4 games behind the Rockets.
A lot of teams at 28 losses.
Yeah, I mean, and then 29 loss. I mean, once you get past 28, you've got Minnesota, who's in the 9 right now at 29 losses. They make the playoffs, but I couldn't tell you where.
For any reason, and now it would be mostly because of injury.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, and it's why it makes Saturday night even more unforgivable.
Yeah.
One of the darkest hours of the Grizzlies' operating history was that Saturday night. To do that to the fans when every game matters, when you have no idea of when that big one's coming, to do that, and now for the Grizzlies to maybe fall into 8 or 9
playing game.
That's abject failure for any reason in the 6th year of this regime.
No, you're absolutely right. And
and there'll be one head that rolls. Taylor Jenkins can't survive that.
No.
The fresh start, need a new voice.
We're getting close to the point where I question what will it take for Taylor Jenkins to survive. I mean, if
great
where we're at right now,
question.
You make a playoff run, then sure, but I mean...
And when they sick the in-house dogs on him, you know something's going on.
Yeah, so I mean, I question how long Taylor Jenkins is going to be there once the season's over. But, I mean, just the thought that on March 4th, that question would even come up, that question would even come out of your mouth after last season, I would have never thought with this group of guys a week ago. But even before the season started, I would have never thought, okay, with this
us
group,
driving
with this
back
team,
from Oxford Saturday.
Exactly. That I would never think 2 years in a row you're going to be, you could be out of the playoffs. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Grizzlies make the playoffs, but I don't think it's as the 4 seed. Certainly if Jaren Jackson Jr. is missing is week to week, which could mean 2, 3, who knows when. They're certainly not the 4th.
Did you hear any booing last night?
I didn't, but I'll also be honest, I wasn't locked in on the audio. I didn't hear it. Was there? Did you hear any? Have you seen people saying there was?
I saw a little.
Okay.
And I saw one tweet now, a smattering of boos.
Okay.
I don't think it was anything robust.
No, I didn't hear anything or see anything. So hopefully
we could get some.
You could definitely get some.
This fan base Saturday night did something to them.
Mm-hmm. No, Saturday was the breaking point. That everything changed Saturday night with how that lineup.
If you don't care, we're not going to care.
Mm-hmm. That changed everything, and so now, I mean, you look up and OKC tomorrow night, Dallas on Friday on the road, New Orleans on the road, and then you come back and you see Phoenix, you see Utah, you see Cleveland. I mean, a couple of those games are games you should win, and if they get a little hairy, then yeah, I mean, I could definitely see the Boo Birds out.
Yeah, and now I don't think there's any doubt 4 teams finish ahead of the Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma City, the Lakers, Denver, Houston.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Again, and it all comes down to what does week to week mean? Can anybody define what does week to week mean? Because I would think week to week means 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks. But, we've seen guys be out for a really long time with considered week to week. And so if you're without Jaren Jackson Jr., who knows when you're going to see Ja again. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very easy to see Houston, who could, get a win tonight and get even closer, them jumping the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies at, best being the 5 seed.
It's time for a climbing availability.
It is, and you're not going to get it.
No.
You can dream, but you're not going to get it. But I mean, I think there are questions that need to be answered, and I don't think you're going to get the answers to them. And
now the season win total, I wouldn't begin to know how to forecast one.
No, and I mean, again, I don't know where it is now. Obviously, it moves with every passing game, but coming out of the All-Star break, the 4th toughest remaining schedule in all of the NBA, the Grizzlies had. Now I think it's dropped. I think it's 10th remaining, or 10th hardest schedule with remaining, but it's not easy. My point is, it's not easy, and if you're going to be without Jaren Jackson Jr., who's been the best player on this team this season, it could get ugly. It could.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking
even
forward to
the
it.
April portion of the schedule now is not easy. Nothing's easy.
No.
Isn't it something how quickly it flipped from everything going the Grizzlies' way, and the Tigers just kind of out there barely winning some of those games, a win, to this.
Yeah.
The Tiger prospects looked a lot rosier.
Yep. No, it's weird. We had a text message come in that said they were there and there were some small boos at a time during the game. So I think it's going to grow if things keep going in this direction. That's only going to grow and get worse. So.
Yeah, and some of the lineups out there that now, out of necessity, will have to play. I think people are going to get some frustration out.
Yeah. Let Utah on March 12th be a close game after who knows what in the games before, and it could get bad with the booing. Well, let's change and get to some good. Tigers in action tonight against UTSA. Rogue. I mean, game starts in 20 minutes. Be starting right when we get off air. Opportunity tonight for the Tigers to lock up the number 1 seed in the American Athletic Conference tournament and at least lock up a share of the AAC title. I feel like they're going to win pretty easily tonight. I think it's going to be a double-digit win tonight on the road against UTSA. But I said it earlier, and I'll say it again, I think it's going to be a sleepy environment of a gym that seats 4,000 people. And so it's going to be bring your own energy, bring your own motivation tonight for the Tigers.
Wonder what the biggest crowd of the year for UTSA's been.
It's a great question. I'll have to look that up, but it's
8.5-point favorite. The Tigers 158.5 over and under.
Whew. Okay. All right.
Tigers got to do a lot of that.
Yeah, they're gonna have to put up a lot of points if they want to get to that.
Got
number.
88 Sunday.
They did, and that's the thing. I mean, I think if I brought it up with Matt Infield. I'd like to see some 3 balls go down tonight. You look at these last 3 games, shooting about 24, I think it was, % from 3 over the last 3 games. You kind of struggled, and this is a team, we've talked about it, they're not going to go out there and throw up, 33 pointers in a game. This is a team that's going to go out there and shoot maybe 23s a game, usually less. And so, this is a team that has had a lot of success making those 3-pointers when they take them. But these last 3 games, I'd like to see him get some confidence from 3. You had it from Colby Rogers in the last game. Can he come in again and have another one of those big-time games? We'll see tonight. But
a UTSA team that lost to Little Rock and Detroit non-conference.
Yeah. I mean, they have a new coach in there that I think is a fine coach, but he's a first-year head coach and bringing in a lot of guys. I mean, they got Primo Spears, who came over from Florida State, who I think is a good player, but outside of that, they don't have much, and kind of have a little bit of that Alabama blood in them, where they want to take threes, and if they're making a lot of threes, then they're going to have success. But the problem is sometimes they don't make many threes. And
also lost to Army non-conference.
Yeah, Army's not very good. I unfortunately watched a couple Army games in non-conference, and they are not a fun team to watch. What game was I watching of UTSA in non-conference? This game
Arkansas.
They should have lost. No, it was Merrimack, maybe?
Oh, wow.
And they should have lost that game. They ended up winning, but they should have lost that game. I mean, Merrimack
barely beat them.
Played really well, gave it up at the end. So, yeah, I think this should be a game. I want to see, but I'm saying first possession offensively. Get that ball down to Dane Danger, let him work, set the tone early, and I think should be an easy win tonight on the road.
You picked it.
Averaging 1,500 attendance for this year, UTSA is.
Is it scan count?
I'm not in the weeds.
Are we plugged
UTSA.
into the UTSA scan?
Unfortunately, I'm not plugged in on what type of numbers they're putting out on their website.
Real or make believe?
Yes, I would say. Oh, well, I don't know. I was gonna say
I would
probably
say
real,
they're fibbing.
but I would say they're fibbing for sure. So yeah, it'll be fun to see what type of crowd is there tonight. Game that gets started here in just a little more than 15 minutes. So it'll be fun to keep up with that one, and a really good night of college basketball tonight with
Georgia and South Carolina approaching halftime.
Yeah, half pretty much done there in Georgia.
Richard
all
Cross
over.
doing the game.
Yeah, that's love seeing
Looking
Richard
good.
Cross on these
Sounding
games.
good.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun. Georgia in control, 40-29 right now, so they could definitely use this win to stay on the right side of the bracket. We got Sun Belt first round conference championship game going on right now. Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss. That one's a close one. 2-point lead for Coastal. So we're locked in on the conference tournaments right now. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. And when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in the 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family of families still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
Something amazing is happening in video conferencing. People are showing up in big ways. That's because CDW is building collaborative and connected video and audio environments with HP Poly. With noise block AI to silence distractions and group framing to highlight speakers, everyone on your team gets to shine. Make amazing happen. HP Poly and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/poly.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
A Attention homeowners, it's time to score big with Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. For the first 50 callers who purchase a new carrier system, generator, or tankless water heater, choose between 60 months of no-interest financing or free air duct cleaning, a $500 value. Plus, don't miss our $39 February deals. Choose from a furnace tune-up, a sewer inspection, or an electrical panel inspection. It's the perfect way to prepare your home for the season. But hurry, this winning deal ends February 28th. Don't fumble this opportunity to claim these amazing offers. Call Choates today at 347-8086. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6. $1 off all draft meals, $5 off will drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and mozzarella sticks, queso, $4 a day. Friday night lights from 7 o'clock. Dining and mozzarella wings, $8 free. Watch college football and every pro game. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland. Highway 70, fall is football.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, your shoes the whole time you're there. Can't put a price on that kind of luxury. And you have switch to Progressive and you will save. For speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the babies crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that Jeff Goodman reported earlier this morning the names he's hearing for the Florida State head coaching job. That list includes Celtics assistant Sam Castle, Kings assistant Luke Locks, UAB head coach Andy Kennedy, Arkansas State head coach Brian Hodgson, Samford head coach Bucky McMillan, and Duke assistant Chris Carrawell. Two of those names I think will be involved in a ton of openings this offseason, that being Brian Hodgson over at Arkansas State and Bucky McMillan at Samford. Bucky McMillan's name has been around. Last year his name got brought up at a couple places, but I do think both those names will be heavily involved with a lot of jobs. But the one that did surprise me a little bit, Andy Kennedy at UAB. Obviously, Memphis fans very aware of what Andy Kennedy is as a head coach. Just saw him on over the weekend on Sunday, but would be weird if Andy Kennedy goes from UAB to Florida State.
And is that really a tomorrow hire? You're either hiring somebody it's a yesterday or tomorrow hire.
Yeah, and I just don't know if Andy Kennedy fits that.
I don't either. What I learned from Bo Marchant, great week in Indianapolis for Jackson Dart. He probably is working his way into the first round, and I want it to be somewhere in the 20s because I don't want him to have to go somewhere and be perceived as the savior. That's what's going to fall to Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, and that's hard. Jaden Daniels made the hard look easy.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And
that's not always the case.
No, it's not. It's going to be fun to see how this quarterback class pans out as we get closer to the draft. What I could have done without the news that Jaren Jackson Jr. is now considered week to week with a grade 2 ankle sprain. Jeff Stotts over at In Streets Clothes on Twitter, In Street Clothes on Twitter, this is the guy that when we talk to Keith Smith, he always says, if you want to know about injuries in the NBA, go follow Jeff Stotts over at In Street Clothes. This is what he had to say about the Jaren Jackson Jr. injury. A grade 2 sprain is also known as a partial or incomplete tear. Multiple players have sustained G2 ankle sprains in recent seasons, including teammate Ja Morant. The average time lost for injuries of this severity is about 3 weeks. So, looking on average of about 3 weeks for Jaren Jackson Jr. to be out.
I could have done without that.
Oh, yeah.
I also could have done without this. No to the millionth power. Hell no. Any idea by AAC Commissioner Tim Pernetti of this league, this dog with fleas league, going to 20 conference games? No. That will wreck. That will kill Tiger attendance. That'll be a final nail in Tiger attendance. This league needs to be going to less conference games. Go to 16. No to 20.
No, the last thing Memphis needs is playing more conference games.
More UTEP, TSA, and Rice.
Yeah, getting you. Thankfully, this
Rice.
year only UTSA on the road. You go to that, you'll get UTSA home and away. That's exactly what the Tigers need. Where are you beaming tonight?
Memorial Gym at Vandy for Arkansas against Vanderbilt. I'll have time to get there after I go to Queens and Lipscomb across town. I don't even know where Zany Allen Arena is in Nashville. I would assume across town. Sounds good to go across town. Go to that early, go to Arkansas and Vandy late.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, late night in Nashville for the Vanderbilt fans.
Queens and Lipscomb.
How about that? Yeah, beam me to the Auburn Texas A&M game. I think this is going to be a fun game. It feels like a game that Texas A&M, they would love to win this at home after losing 4 straight games, but Auburn, it feels like nobody is able to beat them. Only lost twice this season in this extremely tough SEC. Can Auburn continue to do what they've been doing on the road against what will be a very desperate Texas A&M team following 4 straight losses? That'll be a fun one tonight.
Texas Longhorns in Starkville against Mississippi State. Must win for Georgia. Looks like they're going to close it out in the second half. They're up pretty big over South Carolina. Tigers on the road tonight against something called the Roadrunners.
Yeah, the Roadrunners of UTSA averaging about 1,500 fans in attendance. We'll see what it looks like tonight.
What if they're giving away anything? Is it
I'm sure
orange out?
Well, it's hard to do an orange out when you're only averaging about 1,000 people a game. A lot of conference tournament action tonight. You got the Sun Belt, Patriot, Horizon League all going tonight, so it will be a fun night if you're following along in some of these mid-major conference tournaments. And it feels like after tonight, ball really gets rolling for the conference tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun. Memphis getting started here in a couple of minutes, but that's all the time we have. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.